Chapter 948. Black Wolf, how did you do it? Tang Hao was completely different from Shangguaniya. Longao did not try to hide anything. He said, Alliance Master Tang, I saw a vision of heaven and earth by accident and was sucked into it. Longao's words were half true and half false. Even Tang Hao did not tell them everything. After listening, both Tang Hao and Shangguaniya nodded their heads. This was an opportunity that all warriors yearned for even in their dreams. Black Wolf, I'll ask you again. Did you kill Tengli? Shangguaniya was relieved that he was lucky enough to condense the chi of heaven and earth. As for the nirvana rebirth that the two of them had just mentioned, until now, Longao still did not know what it was. It seemed that the chi of heaven and earth he condensed was closely related to the nirvana rebirth. No, he would not admit it even if he was beaten to death. Longao was not a fool. He knew what it meant if he admitted it. Shangguaniya's intention was clear. She wanted to force him to admit it and deal with him. Shangguaniya could not do anything if Longao refused to admit it. Brother Shangguan, since Black Wolf said it was not him, I think there must be some misunderstanding. Why don't we discuss it further? Under normal circumstances, since Tang Hao had already spoken, Shangguaniya would more or less give him face. No matter what, they were both deputy alliance masters. Even if they did not care about each other, they had to give face to each other. But now? Shangguaniya sneered and said coldly, if we don't punish such a lawless disciple on the spot, our martial artists' alliance will be laughed at. Men, take him down and kill him without mercy. Shangguaniya waved her hand and did not give Tang Hao any chance to speak. Her voice was extremely cold and murderous. She said, Tang Hao, you and I both know that this person must die today. Tang Hao already knew about the relationship between Shangguaniya and Black Wolf. Now that things had come to this point, even if it wasn't because of his granddaughter, he wouldn't let Shangguaniya kill He Lang. The 8 deputy alliance masters of the Martial Artists Alliance all had their own ulterior motives. They fought openly and secretly to suppress each other. Tang Hao knew clearly that if Black Wolf was really killed by Shangguaniya, he would lose face. Wouldn't he tell everyone that he was afraid of Shangguaniya? Tang Hao could not let that happen. Shangguaniya, you can't kill He Lang before the investigation is completed. Tang Hao, are you clearly going against me? You can say whatever you want. Tang Hao and Shangguaniya were at loggerheads, and a fight could break out at any moment. This scared the 8 people on both sides, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't dare to offend Vice Alliance leader Shangguan, and they also didn't dare to offend Vice Alliance leader Tang. No matter who they offended, only death awaited them. As for Longao, he stood there quietly. As for the 2 Vice Alliance masters, it was as if this matter had nothing to do with him. This caused the 8 of them to feel extremely pained. Longao knew very well that Tang Hao and Shangguaniya were not acting like this solely because of him. In the end, they both wanted to suppress each other. He was just a fuse. Now, it was time to see who could suppress who between Shangguaniya and Tang Hao. Longao knew that if Tang Hao suppressed Shangguaniya, he would be safe. But if Shangguaniya suppressed Tang Hao, he would be in big trouble. Why do the 2 of you have to be like this? Just as the 2 of them were about to fight, a hearty laugh was heard. Then, Tong Tiendi appeared in the main hall. It was as if he had appeared out of thin air. When they saw Tong Tiendi, everyone bowed respectfully and shouted, Alliance Master. Tong Tiendi waved his hand. He always had a smile on his face. It was as if there was a knife hidden in his smile. All 8 of you leave? Yes. The 8 of them got up and left quickly. Tang Hao and Shangguaniya were already at daggers drawn. If they continued to stay, they would not be able to help either of them. Therefore, leaving was the best choice. Have a seat, Deputy Alliance Masters. Thank you, Alliance Master. Shangguaniya, who had been extremely arrogant just a moment ago, sat down obediently after seeing Tong Tiendi like a mouse seeing a cat. What the hell happened? Ever since Tong Tiendi entered the main hall, he did not look at Longao. It was as if he did not know him. As a result, Longao did not know what the Alliance Master of the Martial Artists Alliance was thinking. Shangguaniya did not give Tang Hao any chance to speak. Alliance Master, Black Wolf killed Tengli for no reason. According to the rules of the Alliance, Black Wolf should be executed on the spot. However, Deputy Alliance Master Tang has been siding with him. Deputy Alliance Master Tang, is this true? Tang Hao cursed in his heart. He replied calmly, Alliance Master, as far as I know, it is still unknown whether Black Wolf killed Tingli or not. Isn't it too hasty to execute Black Wolf on the spot? Humph, Deputy Alliance Master Tang, you know very well what you are thinking. Tong Tianyi waved his hand and stopped the two Deputy Alliance Masters. He smiled and asked, Are you Black Wolf? Yes. Since Tong Tianyi did not know him, Longao chose not to know him either. He wanted to see what Tong Tianyi was up to. Not bad, not bad. Not bad? What did he mean by not bad? Hearing Tong Tianyi say not bad twice in a row, the two Deputy Alliance Masters, including Longao, were very curious. They did not know what Tong Tianyi meant. Alliance Master, how should we deal with Black Wolf? No matter if it was Shangguan or Tang Hao, they both knew that Heilang's life or death depended on the Alliance Master's decision. Because of this, the two of them became even more curious. Under normal circumstances, the Alliance Master would not interfere in this matter. This was because the Alliance Master had been cultivating in seclusion for so many years and rarely showed himself. However, he had now appeared for an insignificant inner sect disciple. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. Tong Tianyi did not say anything. He just sat quietly in his seat. No one knew what he was thinking. Tong Tianyi did not say anything. The two Deputy Alliance Masters did not say anything either. As for Longao, he did not say anything either. The entire hall was silent. Shangguan and Tang Hao were waiting for Tong Tianyi's orders. It was up to the Alliance Master to kill or keep Black Wolf alive. This also showed that Tong Tianyi's decision represented who the Alliance Master would side with. Alliance Master Shangguan, do you have any concrete evidence that Black Wolf killed Tingli? Hearing the Alliance Master's words, Shangguan heart skipped a beat. She sighed inwardly. However, she still answered truthfully, Alliance Master, there is no concrete evidence yet. P.S. Some people say that Little Nine is updating for the monthly votes. Little Nine admits that the monthly votes are more motivating. However, it is not all about the monthly votes. Little Nine is angry and will explode tomorrow. I will show you that Little Nine is not doing this for the monthly votes, but for the brothers and sisters who support Little Nine. Chapter 949. Since there is no evidence, how can I execute Black Wolf on the spot? Shangguan felt helpless. No matter what, he had no evidence. However, at this moment, Leader, Executive Mei Kai wants to see you. Executive Mei. Executive Mei was a special person in the Martial Artists Alliance. Strictly speaking, Executive Mei did not belong to the Martial Artists Alliance. However, if the Martial Artists Alliance was in trouble, Executive Mei would have to protect it with his life. As an Executive Mei, he would get very little resources, but he had a lot of power. In other words, Mei Kai, as an Executive Mei, could leave the Martial Artists Alliance whenever he wanted. As for the others, they could not leave sometimes.
Yes.
Mei Kai pushed the door open and entered the hall. He knelt down on one knee and bowed respectfully. Executive Mei Kai is here to see the leader and the two vice leaders. Mei Kai, what's the matter? Seeing Mei Kai enter, Longao sighed in his heart. Something bad had happened. He had guessed that Mei Kai would definitely deal with him in the Martial Artists Alliance. However, he did not expect that Mei Kai would choose to enter at this moment. Without a doubt, Longao was almost certain that Mei Kai must have spread the news that he killed Tingli. What was Mei Kai's intention in entering the hall this time? Leader, I have evidence to prove that Black Wolf killed Tingli. Hearing this, Shangguan was overjoyed. Before the leader could say anything, he said impatiently, Mei Kai, what evidence do you have? Mei Kai did not do anything. No matter what, the leader was here. The two vice leaders had no right to speak. In other words, if the leader did not say anything, the two vice leaders could not make a decision. Say it. Mei Kai nodded. He wished he could kill Longao. He took out a mirror from his chest. Mei Kai's aura burst out and entered the mirror directly. What happened next? The battle between Longao and Tingli, including the final scene where Tingli was killed by Longao, was shown in the mirror one by one, as if it was a TV drama. Without any suspense, Longao could almost guess that the mirror that Mei Kai took out should be no small matter. After all, it could record past scenes. Alliance Master, Teng Li was indeed killed by Black Wolf. Alliance Master, Black Wolf killed Teng Li. The evidence is conclusive. Should we kill him? Both Shangguaniya and Mei Kai seemed to be a little anxious. However, in their opinion, things had already come to this point. Even if Tang Hao wanted to side with Black Wolf, it was impossible. Black Wolf, I really want to know what happened between you and Teng Li. The three of them didn't seem to have expected the Alliance Master's attitude, especially Shangguaniya and Mei Kai. Under normal circumstances, with conclusive evidence, Black Wolf would definitely be killed. However, the Alliance Master still wanted to ask if the Alliance Master was biased towards Black Wolf. This didn't seem to be possible. Alliance Master, ever since I joined the Alliance, Teng Li has been causing trouble for me time and time again. I'm a hot-blooded young man. After being provoked like this, of course I wouldn't sit still and wait for my death. Then you shouldn't have killed Black Wolf. You're still quibbling. Alliance Master, I've already given Teng Li many chances, but he was like a mad dog. He wouldn't let me go. In the end, I had no choice but to kill him. Otherwise, the one who would die in the end would be me and not Teng Li. Seeing that Black Wolf ignored him, Shangguaniya could only stare at the young man in front of him angrily. With the Alliance Master present, even if he had 10,000 guts, he wouldn't dare to act rashly. Even if he was the Vice Alliance Master, he wouldn't be able to withstand the Alliance Master's anger. After hearing what Shangguaniya said, Tong Tianyi nodded his head and said, "That's understandable. Teng Li was courting death. You can't be blamed. Black Wolf, from now on, you're officially a core disciple of the Alliance. You can also participate in the Burning God region." Alliance Master, you can't do this. Hearing the Alliance Master's decision, Shangguaniya was shocked. Even if he was beaten to death, he would never have thought that the Alliance Master would be biased towards Black Wolf. What was the meaning of this? The Alliance Master clearly knew that he wanted to kill Black Wolf. Why did he still do this? Did the Alliance Master intend to do this? I've already said it. Alliance Master Shangguan, please leave first. Glaring at Black Wolf in front of him, Shangguaniya's heart was filled with anger. However, since the Alliance Master had already spoken, he could only leave. Black Wolf, I'll kill you. Not only Shangguaniya, but even Mei Kai also left. The two of them were completely depressed. They never thought that things would end up like this. The two of them originally thought that Longao would definitely be executed by the Alliance for killing Teng Li. However, in the end, not only was Longao not killed, he even had the opportunity to enter the Burning God region. Both of them were well aware of what the Burning Heaven Divine region represented. Outside the main hall, Alliance Master Tang, we didn't manage to kill Black Wolf this time. What should we do next? Mei Kai's little mouse had been captured by the other party, and he wished he could immediately get it back. However, Mei Kai was very clear that if Teng Li could be killed by He Lang, then even if it was him, he would probably not be a match for He Lang. Until now, Mei Kai still couldn't believe that Black Wolf was a mere illusionary divine martial artist. In just a few months, Black Wolf had become a peak orange grade great emperor. This cultivation speed was too fast. It was so fast that it was terrifying. Shangguaniya's expression was extremely ugly. The Alliance Master's decision to side with Black Wolf was like a slap to his face. As the Deputy Alliance Master, he had completely lost his face this time. However, what could he do now that the Alliance Master was here personally? This time, He Lang has won. With the Alliance Master's decision, we can't deal with this brat openly. However, He Lang will enter the Burning Heaven Divine region later. This is our chance. No matter what happens, we must kill this brat in the Burning Heaven Divine region. Alliance Master Tang, there are only 100 slots for the Burning God region every year. It won't be easy for us to let our own people enter the Burning God region. After all, Mei Kai also wanted to enter the Burning God region. However, he knew that with his status, it would be difficult for him to enter. However, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as Deputy Alliance Master Tang agreed, he would be able to obtain one slot out of the 100 slots. Shangguaniya started to ponder. After thinking for a while, he said, I can obtain 10 slots out of the 100 slots. I don't believe that I can't kill Black Wolf in the Burning God region this time. Deputy Alliance Master Tang, I also want to enter the Burning God region. I can guarantee that I will bring Black Wolf's head to you. Sure. However, let's make things clear first. If you can't kill Black Wolf, you will have to bring your own head back to me. Mei Kai clenched his fists tightly. He told himself that he could only win this time and not lose. P.S. Depending on my performance tomorrow, I will silence the person who started this rumor. Chapter 950. Inside the main hall. Thank you, Alliance Master. Thank you, Vice Alliance Master. Longao knew that Tong Tiandi was obviously siding with him this time. Black Wolf, do you know what kind of place the Burning Sky God domain is? Longao shook his head. He was really curious about the Burning Sky God domain that Tong Tiandi had mentioned. Then, Tang Hao explained to Longao about the Burning Sky God domain. So that's how it is. The Burning Sky God domain was a mysterious place. It was also one of the forbidden areas of the Martial Artists Alliance. Just like the Water Moon Paradise, no one was allowed to enter the Burning Sky God domain without the orders of the Alliance Master or the Alliance. Otherwise, they would be killed without mercy. The Burning Sky God domain would open every year. Every time it opened, only 100 people could enter. The Martial Artists Alliance had millions of disciples. One could imagine how precious 100 people were. To martial artists, the Burning Sky God domain was a cultivation sacred emperor. Every time one entered, they could stay for a month. As for whether they could find any opportunities, it would depend on their luck. Black Wolf, there are 6 Desolation Divine Thrones in the Burning Sky God domain. If you have the chance to sit on them and sense them, you will get what you want. 6 Desolation Divine Thrones? Although Tang Hao was famous, Longao had already sensed the meaning behind his words. It seemed that the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were not simple. If he entered the Burning Sky God domain, he must pay more attention to the so-called 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. Black Wolf, there are a total of 100 people entering the Burning Sky God domain every year. The lowest cultivation must be at the Great Emperor realm. He was a little surprised. This condition was a little too harsh. In other words, if one wanted to enter the Burning Heaven Divine region, only core disciples could enter. According to Tang Hao, the 100 spots to enter the Sky Burning Divine region were divided into red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, black, and white ranks. Among them, there could be 10 golden Great Emperors, entitled Great Emperors in total. Black Wolf, I hope you can gain something in the Burning Sky God domain. I will. Since that's the case, you can leave first. Longao didn't stay either. He was lucky that he wasn't killed by Mei Kai and Shangguaniye this time. All of this was thanks to Tang Hao and Tong Tiandi. Looking at Black Wolf, who had already left, Tong Tiandi asked, Tang Hao, you're intentionally siding with Black Wolf this time. Just what is it for? Tong Tiandi was not a fool. As the leader of the Martial Artists Alliance, he could be said to be an old fox. How could he not see that Tang Hao was intentionally siding with Black Wolf? Since things had come to this point, Tang Hao did not hide anything. He nodded and told them about the relationship between Black Wolf and his granddaughter. After hearing this, Tong Tiandi had a look of sudden realization. Tang Hao, you are mine. There are no secrets between us. Tang Hao smiled. This was because the entire Martial Artists Alliance did not know that he was actually the leader's man. He had followed the leader for 100 years and could be considered a blood relation. Alliance leader, you allowed Black Wolf to enter the Burning Sky God domain this time. If Shangguaniye chooses to deal with him at this time, I'm afraid that Black Wolf's situation will be very dangerous. Tong Tiandi nodded. How could he not know about this? Growing in adversity, rising in slaughter. I want to see how Black Wolf will be able to leave the Burning Sky God domain alive. If he can't even endure this little bit of training, Tong Tiandi did not continue speaking. As for the meaning behind his words, perhaps only Tang Hao could understand. Alliance leader, just now, Black Wolf's body suddenly erupted with the aura of heaven and earth. It blocked Shangguaniye's aura suppression. What happened? He seemed to be very surprised. This was because even Tong Tiandi knew very well what the aura of heaven and earth meant. No matter what, Black Wolf was still an orange-grade great emperor. It was impossible for him to possess the aura of heaven and earth. Not to mention great emperors, even divine Tao martial artists could not condense the aura of heaven and earth. Tang Hao narrated what had just happened in full detail. Before he finished, he said, "Alliance leader, under normal circumstances, unless one is reborn from nirvana, it is impossible to condense the aura of heaven and earth. However, there are some geniuses who can condense the aura of heaven and earth in advance." Tang Hao, some people can condense the aura of heaven and earth in advance. Do you know what this means? Possessing the aura of heaven and earth can block the aura suppression of high-level martial artists. The aura of heaven and earth was one of the most terrifying forces in the world. Tang Hao had just witnessed an orange-grade great emperor using the aura of heaven and earth to block Shangguan Yi's aura suppression. This already explained everything. You don't know. Seeing the alliance leader smile, Tang Hao was very curious. He could not think of any other use for the aura of heaven and earth other than blocking the aura suppression of high-level martial artists. Aura of heaven and earth condense, Nirvana rebirth set. Aura of heaven and earth condense, Nirvana rebirth set? What did this mean? Tang Hao asked curiously, "Alliance leader, what do you mean by these two sentences?" Tang Hao was very clear about the alliance leader's strength. It was unfathomable. As for what realm the alliance leader had reached, even he could not sense it. Just thinking about it was terrifying. Aura of heaven and earth condense, Nirvana rebirth set. Tong Tiandi sighed and said, "I also did not expect Black Wolf to be able to condense the aura of heaven and earth as an orange-grade great emperor. This in itself is already certain that Black Wolf will be able to achieve Nirvana rebirth in the future." Hearing the alliance leader's words, Tang Hao was shocked. He was very clear about what Nirvana rebirth meant. Alliance leader, can Black Wolf really reach that stage? Aura of heaven and earth condense, Nirvana rebirth set. If it has been passed down for countless years, there shouldn't be any problems. Therefore, no matter what happens, we have to protect this child. Tong Tiandi was clearly a little surprised. This was because he did not expect Longao to be able to condense the aura of heaven and earth. No wonder Long Ditian valued this child so much. It seemed like there was no smoke without fire. We are unable to control the burning divine region. However, don't worry, alliance leader. I will arrange for my own people to enter. However, I'm afraid that it will be somewhat impossible for Black Wolf to obtain the Desolation Divine Throne. Tong Tiandi did not say anything. There were too many variables in everything. Even if Black Wolf's talent and potential were there, he did not dare to be certain. However, Tong Tiandi was certain of one thing. From now on, he would properly train Longao. Tong Tiandi's intention was very simple. He wanted to keep Longao in the Martial Artists Alliance forever. As for the agreement with Long Ditian, Tong Tiandi did not take it to heart. The entire Great Hall was silent. Alliance leader Tong Tiandi and Vice Alliance leader Tang Hao did not speak. The two of them sat quietly in the Great Hall. No one knew what the two of them were thinking. The news of Black Wolf killing Tung Li, but not being executed, instantly spread throughout the Martial Artists Alliance. Everyone who received the news was shocked. They did not know what the Alliance was up to this time. P.S. Today's 3 chapters have been delivered. Little 9 will stay up late tonight and will continue to update after midnight. Chapter 951. As soon as Longao left the hall, he ran into Shangguan Yi and Mei Kai. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes blaze with hatred. Neither of them found the other pleasing to the eye. He snorted coldly. Shangguan Yi said coldly, "Black Wolf, don't think that you won't die just because the Alliance Master sided with you." Before Longao could say anything, Shangguan Yi continued, "In the burning sky divine region, I'll make you wish you were dead." Shangguan Yi dropped her threat and immediately turned to leave. Meikai naturally wouldn't choose to stay behind by himself. In fact, Meikai was more or less afraid of Black Wolf. After all, if Black Wolf could kill Tung Li, he could kill him as well. It was fine to kill Tung Li, but it was also fine to kill him. Shangguan Yi. Looking at the two people who were gradually disappearing, Longao's expression was a bit grave. Because of Shangguan Yi's status, casually finding some of his own people to enter the burning heaven divine region was simply an easy matter. According to Tang Hao, only martial emperors could enter the burning sky divine region. Even so, he was still in constant danger. The burning sky divine region was filled with danger, but it was also filled with endless opportunities. To Longao, the burning sky divine region was definitely a good place to cultivate and gain experience. That was indeed the case. Longao had already decided to enter the burning sky divine region to gain experience. After leaving, he would look for Yu-In. Black Wolf, come with me. At this moment, Longao heard Tang Hao calling for him. He was a little curious. However, Tang Hao had helped him just now. Otherwise, Shangguan Yi would have already dealt with him before Tong Tiandi came. He followed Tang Hao all the way south and arrived at a secluded pavilion. After entering the pavilion, Tang Hao smiled and said, "Sit." "Thank you, Uncle Tang." Just now in the main hall, in front of Shangguan Yi, Longao naturally wouldn't call Tang Hao uncle. After all, it was best to keep his relationship with Tang Hao a secret. Longao could tell that Shangguan Yi and Tang Hao were not on good terms. They were like fire and water. "Black Wolf, you've really surprised me. In just a few short months, you've made another breakthrough in your cultivation. Not only that, you've even condensed the chi of heaven and earth." Longao smiled but didn't say anything. "Black Wolf, do you know what the guildmaster said to me just now?" "Please tell me, Uncle Tang." Longao was very curious because he had already guessed that what the Alliance Master said to Tang Hao must have something to do with him. Because of this, he was very much looking forward to it. He didn't know what the Alliance Master said to Tang Hao. Tang Hao smiled. He had a mysterious look on his face. The more Tang Hao behaved like this, the more curious Longao was. He felt depressed but maintained an indifferent expression on his face. "The Alliance Master said to me that the chi of heaven and earth had condensed and the nirvana rebirth had been fixed." The chi of heaven and earth had condensed and the nirvana rebirth had been fixed? Hearing Tang Hao's two sentences, Longao was a little curious. He could still understand the first sentence, heaven and earth chi condense, but as for the second sentence, nirvana rebirth, he was confused. He didn't know what it meant. The chi of heaven and earth had condensed. If he wasn't wrong, it should be referring to the chi of heaven and earth that he had condensed. "Uncle Tang, what do these two sentences mean?" With a look of envy on his face, Tang Hao smiled and said, "Black Wolf, before I explain these two sentences, I want to ask you, do you know the division of martial artist's strength?" Longao was getting more and more curious. He didn't know why Tang Hao asked this question, but he still nodded and replied, "Yes. The division of martial artist's strength is divided into the acquired realm, Xiantian realm, transformation realm, nihility realm, illusionary divine realm, great emperor realm, half-god realm, divine realm, supreme divine realm, and the 9 realms of martial Tao." You're right. In the eyes of ordinary people, the supreme divine realm is already the peak of martial artists. However, I believe you should know that there's a supreme divine realm above the supreme divine realm. Longao certainly knew about this. Could it be that one had to break through to the supreme divine realm to be able to condense the chi of heaven and earth? "Hey Lang, I can now clearly tell you that on the path of martial arts, the supreme divine way is not the peak of martial arts." Longao also knew about this, so he wasn't surprised. Above the supreme divine realm, there were the heaven Tao and the divine mathematician. In the entire Tianwu continent, only the divine mathematician and the heaven Tao had reached the true peak of martial arts. Seeing that Black Wolf didn't say anything, Tang Hao thought that Black Wolf was frightened by his words. However, he felt relieved after thinking about it. After all, no matter who it was, as long as they heard such words, they would be shocked speechless. In the 10 Directions tripod competition, even the inner disciples would think that on the path of martial arts, only the Supreme Divine Way was the true peak existence, and not the so-called Supreme Divine Way martial artists. There's a legendary realm above the Supreme Divine Realm. According to the legends, only by breaking through to this realm can one be considered to have truly stepped onto the peak of martial arts. "Uncle Tang, this realm is Nirvana Rebirth?" Seeing that Tang Hao nodded, Longao wasn't as surprised as he had imagined. Ever since he had inadvertently condensed the chi of heaven and earth, Longao had heard the words nirvana rebirth from many people. Therefore, Longao had already guessed that the realm above the supreme divine realm that Tang Hao had just mentioned was very likely the so-called nirvana rebirth realm. It seems that you've already guessed it. Black Wolf, I can now tell you clearly that the realm above the supreme divine realm is the so-called nirvana realm. The nirvana realm was a legendary existence. Longao could even guess that the oracle in Tiandao had definitely reached the nirvana realm. Uncle Tang, if that's the case, can I understand that the chi of heaven and earth that I condensed is the powerful chi of heaven and earth possessed by a nirvana realm martial artist? Just as you guessed, the meaning of the two sentences that the Alliance Chief said about condensing the chi of heaven and earth in nirvana rebirth is very simple. As long as there are no accidents, any martial artist who can condense the chi of heaven and earth will definitely reach the nirvana realm in the future. Nodding his head, Longao also understood the meaning of these two sentences. However, he was very clear that even if it was like this, wanting to smoothly reach the nirvana realm was not a simple matter. Because there were too many variables in this process, no one knew what would happen in the future. Black Wolf, the nirvana realm is a legendary existence. I really hope that you can reach that step. Could he reach the nirvana realm? Longao didn't dare to be sure. His heart seemed to be in a mess as he helplessly said, Uncle Tang, I really want to hear about the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones in the Burning Sky Divine Region. I believe that Uncle Tang also knows that I entered the Burning Sky Divine Region this time to find the Desolation Divine Thrones, aside from gaining experience. However, I don't have the slightest understanding of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. P.S. Explosive First Chapter. Chapter 952. Longao was looking forward to the Desolation Divine Throne. As for the Nirvana Realm, Longao was really conflicted. Ever since he got the Dragon Seal and changed his destiny, Longao had slowly risen. Facing the mountains, Longao didn't dare to stop. Every time he advanced to the next realm, he didn't stop to rest. However, every time Longao thought that he was about to reach the peak of martial arts, he helplessly found that a new mountain would appear in front of him. The Divine Realm at the beginning, the Supreme Divine Realm, and now the Nirvana Realm. Longao even wondered when it would end. Black Wolf, the Burning Divine Realm was personally discovered by the old ancestor. He also discovered the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones inside. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. After so many years of exploration, we gradually learned about the Burning Divine Realm and the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. Longao still didn't say anything. Black Wolf, each of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones has a very powerful martial skill and even mysterious power. Everyone has different opportunities. I can't say for sure. Tang Hao also felt a little emotional. He continued, Black Wolf, after you enter the Burning Divine Realm, you must be careful. This time, Shangguan Aya didn't succeed. I believe that the Burning Divine Realm won't miss this opportunity. I know. Longao was very afraid of Shangguan Aya. From the beginning to the end, he couldn't sense Shangguan Aya's true strength. Without a doubt, Longao could almost be sure. He didn't even need to ask Tang Hao. He could be sure that whether it was Tang Hao, Shangguan Aya, or the other 6 Deputy Alliance Masters, they were all Supreme Divine Realm martial artists. Tang Hao just said that the Nirvana Realm was a legendary existence. In the entire Tianwu continent, there were only 2 people who could reach this realm. One was the godly mathematician, and the other was the heavenly Tao. Other than the Nirvana Realm, the Supreme Divine Realm was the peak existence. That was why Longao was amazed by the strength and background of the Martial Artists Alliance. If the Deputy Chief was a Supreme Tao martial artist, then there was no doubt that the Chief of the Martial Artists Alliance, Tong Tiandi, was also a Supreme Tao martial artist. If there were no other Supreme Divine Path martial artists, it meant that there were 9 Supreme Divine Path martial artists in the entire Warrior Alliance. The Tripod of 10 Directions. Longao knew that the 10 great super forces of the 10 directions had almost the same foundation and strength. In other words, not counting the other Supreme Divine Path martial artists, just the 10 Supreme Divine Path martial artists alone, there were at least 90 of them. What kind of concept was this? Longao did not continue to dwell on this issue. He bade farewell to Tang Hao and prepared to use this time to stabilize his cultivation. Inside the pavilion, looking at the gradually disappearing figure, Tang Hao muttered to himself, "I hope you don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint the alliance leader." After entering the Aquamoon heavenly abode, Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the peak of the orange-grade Great Emperor realm. Longao had full confidence that if he could refine all the essence of heaven and earth in his body and successfully integrate it, it would not be difficult for him to break through to the supreme divine path. However, refining all the essence of heaven and earth was not an easy task. According to Tang Hao, there were still 10 days before the opening of the Burning God domain. Taking advantage of these 10 days, Longao prepared to stabilize his cultivation. The Burning God domain was full of danger. If he was not careful, he would not be able to come out alive. At night, the 9 stars in the sky shone on the entire land. Longao, who was sitting on the ground, suddenly heard Bai Ling's voice. He asked curiously, "Bai Ling, what happened?" "Young Master Long, quickly leave here. My sister is here." Bai Ling was a little impatient. She was always so kind. Hearing this, Longao was shocked. Longao was very afraid of Xiling. He originally thought that he could completely get rid of Xiling with the help of the 9-headed Emperor Dragon. However, he never thought that Xiling would find him in the end. He originally thought that after entering the Martial Artists Alliance this time, even if Xiling could still lock onto his aura, he would definitely not dare to enter the Martial Artists Alliance. No matter what, Xiling was still a Jianling. The Martial Artists Alliance was full of experts. Once Xiling entered, wouldn't he be like a lamb in a tiger's den? However, countless people wanted to devour Xiling so that they could quickly break through to the next realm. Whether Xiling was afraid of the Martial Artists Alliance or not, Longao knew that he could not be found by Xiling. Otherwise, he would definitely die. He did not enter the Dragon Seal space. Ever since entering the Martial Artists Alliance, Longao almost never entered the Dragon Seal space. The reason was simple. There were many experts in the Martial Artists Alliance. If he was unlucky and someone sensed the aura of the Dragon Seal space, not only himself, but also Long Fu would be in big trouble. Longao used spatial teleportation and instantly disappeared from the spot. After a few spatial teleportations, Longao had already left his residence and shot towards the barren mountain where he had fought with Tingli. At the peak of the barren mountain, Longao had just arrived and was thinking of a way to escape this disaster. However, at this moment, Xiling's figure suddenly appeared with a cold smile on his face. His body emitted waves of cold aura as if he was extremely angry. As the strongest Jianling, he was played by a small human warrior. Xiling was very angry. "Kid, you really don't know what's good for you. I'll give you the best chance. Hand over my sister, and I'll let you die a quick death." It was an ultimatum. Xiling's patience had reached its limit. If it weren't for the fact that his sister was still in the hands of his opponent, Xiling would have already attacked without saying a word. How could Longao not know about this? "Xiling, I've already said that I have no ill intentions towards Bai Ling. What happened before was an accident. Once I have a way, I'll definitely let Bai Ling go. From now on, let's forget about the grudge between us. How about that?" "Forget about it?" Xiling sneered. "Kid, you don't have the right to bargain with me. Since you're not willing to let my sister go, I can only choose to kill you first. However, you don't have the slightest chance because I've already decided to tear you apart." Hearing Xiling's words, Longao's heart thumped. He could clearly sense that Xiling had the intention to kill him. Longao had already decided that if he had no other choice, he would forcefully enter the Dragon Seal space even if he had to risk the Dragon Seal being discovered. At this moment, he couldn't care about anything else. After all, his life was the most important. However, just as Longao was about to enter the Dragon Seal space, a powerful and terrifying aura instantly suppressed him. Chapter 953. Tong Tiandi. Longao already knew who had arrived. It was Tong Tiandi, the leader of the Martial Artists Alliance. Not only him, but 8 other figures had also arrived. Longao didn't even need to guess to know who these 8 people were. The 8 vice leaders were the 8 people with the most real power in the martial arts alliance other than the leader. 9 supreme Tao warriors had arrived in person. It seemed that the martial artists alliance was very afraid of Xiling. It was hard to believe. Jianling, get out of my way, or I'll kill you all. Xiling's voice was extremely cold, as if it came from hell. This was the confidence that came from having great strength. Tong Tiandi and the 8 deputy leaders, including Shangguaniye and Tang Hao, all looked a little pale. Longao looked at the 2 parties facing each other and was very shocked in his heart. From the faces of the 9 people, it could be seen that Heavenly Emperor Tong's 9 people seemed to be very wary of Purple Spirit. One could imagine just how powerful Purple Spirit's strength was. How dare you break into the Martial Artists Alliance? No matter who you are, you can't leave today. Imperceptibly, Tong Tiandi's group of 9 had already surrounded Violet Spirit, fighting 1 against 9. If Violet Spirit was at her peak, perhaps she wouldn't be afraid. But now, Xiling was obviously not at his peak. It would not be easy for him to fight 9 people alone. The battle was about to start. Tong Tiandi waved his hand and said, "As long as you stay in the Martial Artists Alliance, I can guarantee that I won't hurt you. What do you think? You think you can do that?" Without giving the 9 people any chance to speak, Xiling suddenly turned into streaks of purple light and chose to take the initiative to attack. The battle began. In the end, Xiling still chose to fight 1 against 9. He fought against Tong Tiandi's 9 people at the same time. Both sides had just started fighting, and their auras had already dispersed. Longao stuck out his tongue. What a terrifying battle. He didn't dare to stay any longer. Longao was very clear in his heart that with his current strength, it was impossible for him to participate in a battle of this level. He ran away. Longao made use of spatial teleportation, his body disappearing in an instant. If it was an ordinary martial artist, even if it was a divine Tao martial artist here, they would most likely not be able to withstand such a terrifying aura suppression. Xiling was proud and arrogant. He thought that he could defeat the combined attack of the 9 powerhouses by himself. In the end, Xiling was wrong. However, Tong Tiandi's group of 9 did not leave Xiling behind. In the main hall, Tong Tiandi and the 8 Vice Alliance Masters were all present. Longao stood alone in the center, like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Under the eaves, one had no choice but to lower one's head. Black Wolf, let me ask you now. What's the deal with the Jianling that chased after you just now? Among the 8 Vice Alliance Masters, there was only one person who could not get along with Longao, and that was Shangguaniye. For a long time, Shangguaniye had wanted to kill Longao. However, with Tang Hao and Tong Tiandi's favoritism, it was difficult for a Vice Alliance Master to kill an insignificant inner sect disciple. Shangguaniye was extremely depressed. However, regardless of whether it was the other 7 Vice Alliance Masters or the Alliance Master Tong Tiandi, they all seemed to be very concerned about Xiling. Therefore, in the face of Shangguaniye's interrogation, the other 8 people did not utter a word. Even Tang Hao was the same. Alliance Master, I only know that the Jianling that you were fighting just now is called Xiling. As for why she wanted to kill me, I really don't know. Longao chose to ignore Shangguaniye. The more he did so, the angrier Shangguaniye became. However, since the Alliance Master was here, he could only keep his anger to himself. After all, he was the Vice Alliance Master and could not hide the truth from the masses. Black Wolf, don't talk nonsense here. Don't you know? Don't you know why the Jianling wanted to kill you? After our discussion, we decided that the Jianling had trespassed on the Martial Artists Alliance's territory. She must be arrested. Otherwise, how can the Martial Artists Alliance maintain its dignity? Longao still chose to ignore Shangguaniye. He said to Tong Tiandi, Alliance Master, I still say the same thing. I really don't know anything about Xiling. What can you do to me if I don't know? Tong Tiandi waved his hand to stop Shangguaniye from continuing. Finally, he said, Black Wolf, you really don't know Xiling? I don't know if that counts as knowing her. Longao's answer made people feel helpless. Black Wolf, as a disciple of the Martial Artists Alliance, there is something that the Alliance needs your help with. What do you think? Could he refuse? Longao knew very well that if he refused, even the Alliance Master, Tong Tiandi, and the Vice Alliance Master, Tang Hao, would not help him. Please tell me, Alliance Master. As long as it is something that I can do, I will not refuse, no matter if it is a mountain of swords or a sea of fire. Very good. Tong Tiandi seemed to be very satisfied. He said, Jinling, who just escaped, is very helpful to the Martial Artists Alliance. Therefore, you can use the identity of a bait to lure Jinling into the Martial Artists Alliance. In an instant, Longao understood the Alliance Master's intention. It was also the intention of the Martial Artists Alliance. Jinling was useful to the Martial Artists Alliance? Longao was not an idiot. Of course, he knew that the 9 people in front of him were tempted. After all, with Xiling's status and strength, once the 9 people devoured him, his strength would increase tremendously. It seemed that Xiling's strength was not as strong as the 9 people. However, Longao knew very well that once Xiling recovered to his peak, he would have no problem fighting the 9 of them alone. Although he did not see eye to eye with Xiling, Longao was definitely not willing to let the Martial Artists Alliance deal with Xiling. After all, Xiling was Bai Ling's sister. As the saying goes, even if you don't look at the monk, you still have to look at the Buddha. Alliance Master, I agree. Even if there were 10,000 unwillingness in his heart, Longao still agreed. Because he was certain that Purple Spirit had been severely injured by the 9 great experts this time. Unless water had entered his head, or his head had been kicked by a donkey, he believed that he would not return, even if he himself was the bait. Okay, 10 days. If the Jinling does not appear in 10 days, you will enter the Burning God realm. Longao left, but Shanghai said, Alliance Master, this Jinling is very strong, and he is not at his peak. If the Martial Artists Alliance can obtain this Jinling, I believe it will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the Martial Artists Alliance. Alliance Master, Black Wolf is the Jinling. Once the Black Wolf appears, I am worried that something will happen to Black Wolf. Tang Hao, you're worrying too much. The grudge between them had already been established, so Shanghai did not show any mercy to Tang Hao. Shanghai, no matter what, Black Wolf is still a disciple of the Alliance. Do you think that we can casually sacrifice a disciple of the Alliance just because we obtained the Jinling? If we really do that, our alliance will definitely be criticized by others. Shanghai was prepared to sacrifice Black Wolf, but Tang Hao was trying his best to protect Black Wolf. The other 6 Vice Alliance Masters, including the Alliance Master, were well aware of the hostility between the 2 Vice Alliance Masters. P.S. The 3rd chapter arrived first. Looking at the time, it is already 2 o'clock. Xiao Jia should go to sleep first. Tomorrow, he will continue to update. Chapter 954. 10 days. After saying this, Tong Tiandi's body had already silently disappeared from the spot. The other 6 deputy leaders looked at each other and left the hall as well. There were only 2 people left in the hall. One was Shangguaniye, and the other was Tang Hao. He snorted coldly. Tang Hao, you and I have always minded our own business. Why did you choose to go against me this time? Do you have nothing better to do? Shangguaniye still couldn't figure out why Tang Hao would always go against him for an inner disciple. They were both deputy leaders, and their relationship had always been strange. Tang Hao snorted coldly as well. Shangguaniye, I'm telling you clearly now, don't hurt Black Wolf. Otherwise, we'll fight until one of us dies. Fight until one of us dies. Tang Hao had already made his attitude clear. Hearing those words, Shangguaniye's expression became even more gloomy. However, no matter if it was Tang Hao's status or strength, they were all there. Even if it was Shangguaniye, before he had absolute confidence, he would not dare to casually make a move. Looks like you're determined to go against me. So what if I am? Well, let's wait and see. Shangguaniye and Tang Hao parted on bad terms. After everyone had left, the hall was suddenly filled with eerie laughter. It was extremely terrifying. They left the hall. Longao found a secluded pavilion and sat down temporarily. Longao didn't know how to deal with the aftermath of what had happened. After all, Xiling's identity was special. However, no matter what happened, he couldn't let the Martial Artists Alliance hurt Xiling. He had promised Bai Ling that no matter when, no matter where, he wouldn't hurt Xiling. Although he didn't hurt Xiling this time, Xiling did it because of him. Otherwise, Xiling wouldn't have joined the Martial Artists Alliance. Young Master Long, I beg you, please save my sister. Bai Ling, what's wrong? Just now, my big sister was seriously injured by the 9 of them. Right now, her life is hanging by a thread. If young Master Long doesn't save her in time, my big sister will probably disappear from this world. Hearing Bai Ling's words, Longao was shocked. However, Longao did not leave immediately. He was almost certain that his current actions had already been tracked by the Martial Artists Alliance. If he were to rush over, not only would he not be able to save Xiling, he might even harm Xiling. What should he do? After pondering for a while, Longao finally came up with a solution, and that was the golden silkworm shedding its shell. Longao made use of teleportation and created a fake version of himself with the exact same aura as himself. He left the Martial Artists Alliance smoothly. According to Bai Ling's instructions, Longao found Xiling, who was heavily injured and on the verge of death, beside an extremely remote garbage dump in the Imperial City. Kid, you're courting death. If it was the previous Xiling, he might have been able to easily eliminate Longao. However, now, not to mention Longao, even a random warrior could easily take care of Xiling. Xiling, let's put aside our grudges for now. For Bai Ling's sake, I'll temporarily stop being your enemy and become your friend. You don't want to die here either. It's up to you to decide whether to save him or not. Xiling's body was on the verge of collapse and his face was extremely pale. He could disappear at any time. At this moment, Bai Ling suddenly appeared and looked at her big sister in horror. She begged, "Big sister, I beg you. Please let young Master Long help you. He's not a bad person. Big sister, it's too late." This was really dramatic. Just a moment ago, she was still chasing after this person. However, in just a few hours, the situation had completely reversed. Now, she was going to be saved by him. However, things had already reached this point. She had no other choice. Nodding, Longao's heart was instantly filled with joy. He immediately picked up Xiling's body, and without caring whether Xiling was willing or not, he directly shot into the distance. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared without a trace. It was the first time Xiling was hugged by a man like this. Other than anger, there seemed to be something else in his heart. In a barren mountain cave far away from the Imperial City, gently putting down Xiling, Longao directly asked, "What should I do now?" Xiling didn't speak. Bai Ling continued to appear. "Young Master Long, Big Sister's injuries are very serious. She has an old injury and a heart injury. She must quickly suppress it. Otherwise, Big Sister will be in trouble." Xiling still didn't speak. In other words, what Bai Ling said was true. Of course, Longao knew that Xiling's injuries weren't light. However, the problem now was that he didn't know what to do. No matter what, Xiling was still a Jianling. This was his first time treating a Jianling's injuries. He had no experience at all. "Bai Ling, tell me directly. What should I do?" "Young Master Long, there is a way to suppress Big Sister's injuries in the shortest amount of time. It can even help Big Sister recover." "What way?" Xiling seemed to have guessed something, but Bai Ling had already said, "Young Master Long, I've sensed your body before. No matter if it's your aura or your bloodline, they are all precious healing treasures. Therefore, Bai Ling sincerely hopes that young Master Long can use your aura and bloodline to help Big Sister recover." Hearing Bai Ling's words, Longao was shocked. Of course, he knew what Bai Ling meant. Whether it was his aura or bloodline, once he gave it to Xiling, what would he do? If it were anyone else who asked this, Longao would definitely reject without even thinking about it. However, it was Bai Ling who was begging him. Even if Longao was extremely unwilling, he still nodded in the end. Just as Longao was about to move, Bai Ling said, "Young Master Long, wait a moment." Xiling was already unconscious and could disappear from this world at any moment. "Bai Ling, what's wrong?" "Young Master Long, normal methods won't work. My sister and I are both Jianling. Moreover, your body and bloodline are very different. If you want to succeed, there's only one way. Longao did not interrupt, because he also knew that the current situation was really a matter of life and death. If he was even the slightest bit slower, the purple spirit's life would be in danger. The 9 top exponents were indeed extraordinary. Even with the sword spirit's valiant power, he had almost died under the siege of the 9 people. Young Master Long, although I know that this is a little difficult for you, I really don't have any other way. Bai Ling, things have already come to this point. If there's any way, just say it. As long as it's within my power, I'll definitely do it. Longao was very curious. He didn't know what Bai Ling's method was. It seemed like it was hard to say. Young Master Long, if you want to succeed, you and Big Sister need to take off your clothes and be close to each other. This way, your aura and bloodline can interact better. Chapter 955. After hearing Bai Ling's idea, even Long Ao couldn't take it. It was too wild. Bai Ling, is there no other way? Other than you Yin and Aoshue, Long Ao couldn't do this with other women. After all, Long Ao was a very conservative man. However, Bai Ling shook her head and sighed helplessly. Young Master Long, as for this idea, I'll leave it to you. Young Master Long, looking at Ziling, who was lying on the ground on the verge of death and could disappear at any time. In the end, Long Ao sighed deeply. As the saying goes, saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Moreover, with Bai Ling's request, Long Ao couldn't bear to be cruel. He didn't have any evil thoughts in his heart, so what was there to be afraid of? Long Ao was very confident in himself. Without saying anything more, Long Ao took off his clothes. As for Bai Ling, she had already disappeared without a trace. In the entire cave, only Long Ao and the unconscious Xiling were left. He sighed deeply. Long Ao didn't have any evil thoughts in his heart. He gently took off Xiling's clothes. He had to admit that Xiling's body was absolutely unparalleled in the world. Even Long Ao couldn't help but feel his heart beating wildly. Long Ao only protected Xiling. According to Bai Ling's method, he began to slowly transfer his aura and blood to Xiling. In the next second, Long Ao suddenly felt that not only his aura and blood, but also Xiling's aura and blood were also transferred to him. In other words, the two of them were transferring to each other. Long Ao didn't care about this. He didn't even ask if there would be any side effects. Time trickled by. The cave was so quiet that only their heartbeats could be heard. On the second day, after an entire day and night, Long Ao and Ziling finally woke up. However, Ziling's roar had already sounded out, and she directly slapped her palm towards Long Ao. If it was the Long Ao from a day ago, he might have been able to dodge this palm. But now, Long Ao's body was instantly hit, and his body flew backward. Blood splattered all over the cave. His entire body was like a kite with a broken string. He fell heavily against the wall and bounced back to the ground. Struggling to get up, Long Ao cursed as he put on his clothes. Who the F***CK did I offend? I got hit for no reason. You scoundrel, how dare you tease me? Flirting? When did he tease her? Bai Ling appeared. She was a little embarrassed, but she was pleasantly surprised. Sister, it's all thanks to young Master Long this time. Otherwise, you would have disappeared. It was only at this moment that Xiling realized that something was wrong. He wouldn't have known if he hadn't sensed it, but he was shocked when he sensed it. This was because Xiling didn't expect Lin Fan's bloodline to be so strong. Not only did his injuries improve, but his strength also seemed to have recovered. However, Xiling was a little angry when he thought about what happened just now. He said fiercely, "Kid, I'll spare your life since you saved me. But remember, if what happened today gets out, I'll cut you into pieces." Long Ao was frustrated by Xiling's unreasonable behavior, but he also felt helpless. I hope you won't tell anyone. I value my chastity very much. Needless to say, Long Ao was really shameless. However, thinking about it, this world was really unfair. Why was it that no matter who was right or wrong, it was always the man who was wrong in the end? The woman was always the one who was at a disadvantage. Women always had a righteous attitude. Just as Long Ao was about to sit down and rest, he suddenly exclaimed, scaring Bai Ling and Xiling. Young Master Long, what's wrong? Ignore him, idiot. He completely ignored Xiling. Longao's disregard made the two Jianling very curious. They didn't know what was going on with Longao. Why did he suddenly stop talking? Yellow Grade Great Emperor Realm? Peak Yellow Grade Great Emperor Realm? What kind of concept was this? Longao was completely shocked. A day ago, he was still a peak Orange Grade Great Emperor Realm martial artist. How did he break through from peak Orange Grade Great Emperor Realm to peak Yellow Grade Great Emperor Realm in just one day? Happiness came a little too suddenly. Longao couldn't accept it. Longao was very clear about how difficult it was to break through from Orange Grade Great Sovereign to Yellow Grade Great Sovereign. Moreover, he was able to complete the breakthrough within a short period of one day. If he didn't experience it himself, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. This kind of cultivation speed, even if it was Longao, he felt that it was a little inconceivable. Bai Ling, my cultivation has broken through to Yellow Grade Great Emperor Realm. Bai Ling was also overjoyed. However, she seemed to already know, which made Longao very curious. Just as he was about to ask, Bai Ling said, Young Master Long, a good person will be rewarded with good deeds. You and my sister's aura and bloodline are connected. Not only did my sister benefit, but you also benefited from it. What benefits? Longao couldn't wait any longer. He had just guessed that the reason why he was able to break through from the orange-level Great Emperor Realm to the yellow-level Great Emperor Realm in just one day was definitely related to the events that happened in one day and one night. Strictly speaking, it should be related to Purple Spirit. It seemed that it was just as Bai Ling had said. A good person would be rewarded with good deeds. If he hadn't sacrificed himself, how could he have done this? Longao even wondered if this could be considered a breakthrough in the realm that he had exchanged his body for. If Xiling knew about Longao's wild thoughts, he wondered if Xiling would be furious. Young Master Long, you've already sensed the instant increase in your cultivation level. As for the other benefits, I can't tell you right now, but I can guarantee that you'll definitely benefit more than my sister. After listening to Bai Ling's words, Longao realized that he seemed to have gained an advantage. He was really helpless. There was no helping it. When good luck came, it couldn't be stopped. In just one day, he broke through from Orange Grade Great Emperor Realm to Yellow Grade Great Emperor Realm. Until now, Longao was still in disbelief. After all, no matter who he told, no one would choose to believe such a cultivation speed. Xiling, can we write off the grudge between us now? Without waiting for Xiling to speak, Longao continued, I still have the same words. I can't let Bai Ling go now. However, as long as I can do it, I will definitely let her go. During this period of time, I will protect Bai Ling well. How about that? If this still didn't work, Longao really had no other choice. At most, he would be killed by Xiling. After all, he couldn't control the Godslayer's sword and didn't dare to casually break the seal of the Godslayer's sword. Otherwise, Bai Ling would really be in danger. If she was swallowed by the Godslayer's sword, the consequences would be unimaginable. Xiling thought for a while and nodded. We can write off the grudge between us. However, I have a condition. From now on, I want to follow you at all times and protect Bai Ling. How about that? Chapter 956. Follow me? Hearing that Xiling would follow him from now on, Longao was completely shocked. Xiling, did you say something wrong? Longao certainly didn't want Xiling to follow him. The reason was simple. Although Xiling seemed to have buried the hatchet with him, no one knew if Xiling would suddenly attack him one day. As the saying goes, it's hard to guard against a thief at home. Longao, you don't have the right to choose. Xiling's overbearingness left Longao helpless. In the end, he could only nod and agree helplessly. Xiling, I can agree to let you follow me, but you have to promise me one thing. Don't seek revenge from the Martial Artists Alliance for now. Longao could almost guess that Xiling's strength must have reached the so-called peak of the Supreme Tao. But what could he do? In the end, Xiling was seriously injured and couldn't recover to his peak strength. If he went to the Martial Artists Alliance, he would be courting death. For Bai Ling's sake, and also for the physical intimacy, Longao didn't want anything to happen to Xiling. He didn't want Xiling to be hurt by the martial artists' alliance. No matter what, Xiling was Bai Ling's sister. Xiling obviously knew that Longao was being kind. Although she didn't say anything, she had already silently agreed. Seeing that the enmity between Longao and her sister was temporarily resolved, Bai Ling was the happiest. "Young Master Long, thank you so much." Longao smiled and said, "I'm a soft-hearted person." "Really?" Longao chuckled. He was obviously very happy that his cultivation had broken through from the orange-level Great Emperor realm to the yellow-level Great Emperor realm. After all, the difference of one level was too big. "If I come out for too long, I'll definitely attract attention." Xiling and Bai Ling knew what Longao meant. They nodded and entered the Godslayer's sword at the same time. Xiling's situation was different from Bai Ling's. With Xiling's strength, unless the seal on the Godslayer's sword was broken, Xiling would never be swallowed by the Godslayer's sword. Longao did not stay any longer. He immediately shot toward the Martial Artists Alliance. The Martial Artists Alliance used him as bait to lure Xiling into the Martial Artists Alliance. If the Martial Artists Alliance found out that he had left the alliance, there was no doubt that the Martial Artists Alliance would believe that he had something to do with Xiling. If that happened, he would be in big trouble. He successfully returned to the Martial Artists Alliance. Longao had just stepped into his residence. He did not even have time to catch his breath before Mei Kai came in. He heaved a sigh of relief. It was a close call. However, Longao asked unhappily, "Are you asking for a beating by coming here?" Asking for a beating? No matter how much Mei Kai was afraid of him, he did not show any fear on his face. Instead, he acted like he was superior. It was as if he did not care about the other party at all. "Black Wolf, cut the crap. I'm here on behalf of Deputy Chief Shangguan. I have something to discuss with you." "Shangguan Iya?" Longao was curious. He did not know why Shangguan Iya was looking for him. After all, he and Shangguan Iya were at daggers drawn. It was a situation where one of them had to die. "If you have something to say, say it. I don't have time to waste with you." "Humph, Black Wolf, Deputy Chief Shangguan asked me to tell you that as long as you kneel in front of him and admit your mistake and leave your arm behind, he will let bygones be bygones." In addition, Longao waved his hand and did not give Mei Kai a chance to continue. This was because he already knew that Mei Kai was here on behalf of Shangguan Iya to make him bow his head. Shangguan Iya knew very well that he was on the side of Deputy Chief Shangguan Iya and Tang Hao. It would not be easy to deal with him. "Mei Kai, go back and tell Shangguan Iya that the grudge between him and me will not end until one of us dies. Not end until one of us dies." Mei Kai did not expect Black Wolf to be so arrogant. Shangguan Iya was the deputy chief of the Martial Artists Alliance. Regardless of status or strength, he was still superior. Not to mention Black Wolf, even the other deputy chief would not dare to provoke Shangguan Iya unless it was absolutely necessary. Provoking Shangguan Iya was equivalent to courting death. "Black Wolf, I will give you one last chance. You should know what it means to fight Deputy Chief Shangguan to death. Get out." Under Mei Kai's shocked gaze, Longao's body suddenly disappeared from where he was. In the next second, Longao suddenly appeared beside Mei Kai and said in an extremely cold voice, "I will let you know the consequences of provoking me." Bang! Longao's godly dragon arm hit Mei Kai's left shoulder at an unbelievable angle. Then, Mei Kai's body flew backward like a kite with a broken string. In the end, Longao did not kill Mei Kai. If it was any other time or place, Longao would not have shown mercy. As the saying goes, being merciful to one's enemy is the cruelest to oneself. Under normal circumstances, Longao would never make such a low-level mistake. However, the current situation was not painful. After the incident with Xiling, the chief and Tang Hao were already suspicious of him. If he continued to kill Mei Kai at this time, Longao could even guess that even if he entered the Burning Sky Divine region, it would still be unknown. Because of this, Longao did not kill Mei Kai. However, he was very clear that based on the grudge between him and Mei Kai had to die. Otherwise, he would be in endless trouble. "Humph, Black Wolf, do you really think that you are the chief?" Longao's heart skipped a beat when he heard the voice. Of course, he knew who it was. It was Shangguan Iya, a peerless supreme Tao warrior. As long as he didn't use his aura, Longao believed that Shangguaniye could easily kill him. Longao could not understand. Since Shangguaniye knew that the chief and Tang Hao were on his side, why did she still take the risk to deal with him? Could it be that Shanghaiye did not even care about the chief, Tong Tiandi? In the next second, when Shangguaniye appeared, she already knew that Black Wolf had condensed the aura of heaven and earth. Shanghaiye did not use her aura to suppress him, nor did she attack him. She only looked coldly at Black Wolf, walked to the side and sat down. Longao had already thought about it. If Shangguaniye really attacked him, he would immediately enter the Dragon Seal space even if he had to risk being discovered by the Dragon Seal. After thinking about it, Longao could only think of this way to avoid Shangguaniye. Shangguaniye, what's the matter? He sneered. In Shangguaniye's eyes, she did not care about Longao at all. Because even if Longao's cultivation had broken through to the yellow-grade Great Emperor realm, an ant was still an ant. Black Wolf, have you heard of this saying? Everyone below the Nirvana realm is an ant. However, I can tell you now that everyone below the Supreme Tao is an ant. Chapter 957. Everyone below the Nirvana realm was an ant? Everyone below the Supreme Tao was an ant? Shangguaniye, I really want to know what you just said has to do with me. Longao felt helpless. He did not believe that Shangguaniye came here just to say this to him. Could it be that he wanted to tell him that he was just an ant in front of him? Hey Lang, I'm just letting you know that you're not even a fart in my eyes. Get lost. If someone dared to tell him to get lost, Shangguaniye would have exploded like a volcano. However, at this moment, Shangguaniye was still laughing coldly, as if he did not take Longao's insults to heart. Black Wolf, you will definitely die in 10 days even if you enter the Burning God domain. Shangguaniye, let's not beat around the bush. Just say what you want to say. Longao was clearly getting impatient. He and Shangguaniye had already reached a point where they would not rest until one of them was dead. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to waste time talking nonsense. Black Wolf, Mei Kai has already passed on my words to you. Have you thought about it? Forgive me for not keeping you company. Just as Longao turned around, he could clearly feel Shangguaniye shooting toward him. Before he could figure out what was going on, his body was hit and he was sent flying backward. He collided with the ground. Fortunately, Longao had the protection of the Divine Desolation body and Shangguaniye did not kill him. Otherwise, Longao would not have been able to block this attack. Black Wolf, remember this. You are not qualified to play with me. After saying that, Shangguaniye disappeared. Longao crawled up from the ground with great difficulty. He finally witnessed Shangguaniye's formidable strength. A Supreme Shinto was indeed a Supreme Shinto. In front of a Supreme Shinto, he almost didn't have any chance to fight back. It was too terrifying. The Supreme Shinto was so powerful. It was hard for Longao to imagine that the Nirvana realm, which was above the Supreme Shinto, would be even more terrifying. That was the strength of the divine mathematician in the heavenly Tao. As the saying goes, there is always someone better than you. Longao, with your strength, it's impossible for you to be his opponent. Moreover, that person wants to kill you. Longao was aware of Xilinx's reminder. Of course, he knew why Shangguaniye didn't kill him this time. Without a doubt, Shangguaniye wasn't afraid of him. Instead, she was wary of the chief and deputy chief, Tang Hao. Longao was almost certain that once he entered the Burning Heaven Divine region, he would definitely be in danger because Shangguaniye would not let go of such a rare opportunity. Your strength is too low. Grass. Longao cursed in his heart. Xiling was obviously trying to hurt him. Xiling, is there any way for me to make consecutive breakthroughs in the shortest amount of time? The stronger one was, the higher the chance of survival in the Burning Heaven Divine region. Moreover, his main goal after entering the Burning Heaven Divine region was to find the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. Why should I tell you? Longao was speechless after hearing Xilinx's words. He didn't continue to ask for a rebuff. Although he didn't die after being hit by Shangguaniye, he definitely didn't feel good. Longao immediately sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate quietly. Outside the Martial Artists Alliance, Qianyi returned smoothly. As a supreme Shinto warrior and in charge of the Red Blood Guards, Qianyi's position in the Martial Artists Alliance was very high. Qianyi was only a guardian, but his position was equal to that of an elder. After his grandson was killed, Qianyi had been looking for Longao's whereabouts. Moreover, Longao had taken away the crystal ball from him. "Boss, Longao is still nowhere to be found." Waving his hand, Qianyi's face was extremely gloomy. He had already guessed it. Otherwise, he would have found Longao long ago. Where did Longao go? "Qianyi, you're back." Hearing the voice, Qianyi was delighted. He immediately stood up and bowed respectfully. Qianyi greets Deputy Alliance Leader Shangguan. "All right, don't be so polite with me." The person who came in was Shangguan. In the Martial Artists Alliance, the 8 Deputy Alliance Leaders, including the Alliance Leader, all had their own subordinates. Qianyi was Shangguan's subordinate. "Brother Shangguan, how have you been?" Qianyi dared not provoke Shangguan because he knew clearly that he and the Red Blood Guards were built by Shangguan. As long as Shangguan wanted to, he could take everything away from him at any time. Seeing Shangguan's pale face, Qianyi knew that Shangguan must be in trouble. "Brother Shangguan, did something happen?" Shangguan nodded. This was the main reason why he came to find Qianyi this time. He didn't conceal anything. He told Hei Lang about the things that had happened between him and Hei Lang, as well as the things that had happened between him and the Shangguan clan. The fault was definitely Longao, and not him and the Shangguan clan. After hearing the story, Qianyi was also shocked. In the Martial Artists Alliance, he couldn't figure out who, except for the 7 Deputy Alliance Leaders, the Alliance Leader, and some elders, dared to provoke Shangguan. That person must have a death wish. Moreover, the person who had provoked Shangguan was an insignificant inner disciple of the Martial Artists Alliance. It was hard to believe. However, Qianyi knew clearly that Shangguan didn't have to lie to him. Qianyi also wanted to meet the legendary Black Wolf. He wanted to see what kind of person he was and how he dared to provoke Deputy Alliance Leader Shangguan. However, the Deputy Alliance Leader had a very high status in the Martial Artists Alliance. If he wanted to kill an inner disciple, it would be as easy as killing an ant. "Brother Shangguan, with your status and strength, it doesn't seem difficult for you to kill Black Wolf." At the mention of this, Shangguan's expression became more and more unpleasant. He said, "If it weren't for Tang Hao's interference and the Alliance Leader's favoritism, Black Wolf would have been dead." "Brother Shangguan, I can understand Tang Hao's interference. He has always been at odds with you. However, the Alliance Leader has been in seclusion for so many years. Why would he not only come out of seclusion but also side with an insignificant inner disciple?" Even Shangguan didn't know what the Alliance Leader meant, let alone Qianyi. Because of this, he didn't dare to make a move casually. "Brother Shangguan, have you ever thought that there are 2 reasons why the Alliance Leader would side with this person?" "What are the 2 reasons?" "First, Black Wolf's identity is not simple. Otherwise, the Alliance Leader wouldn't side with an inner disciple and make a Deputy Alliance Leader unhappy." "You have a point." Everyone knew that the value of a Deputy Alliance Leader was much higher than that of an inner disciple. Unless there was something wrong with the Alliance Leader's brain, he would know how to choose. Second, Black Wolf is just a scapegoat. The Alliance Leader is only doing this to give you a warning. P.S. I went out to do something in the afternoon. I will continue the update when I come back. The 7th chapter has been delivered. Chapter 958. Are you saying that the Alliance Master wants to deal with me? That's not necessarily the case. No matter what, you are the Vice Alliance Master. As long as the Alliance Master isn't stupid, I believe that he won't do anything to you. Shangguan was very confident about this. His value was obvious. "Qianyi, I have a task for you now. Please tell me." The Alliance Master has decided to let Black Wolf enter the Burning Divine region. Therefore, you have 10 days to think of a way to help me get rid of this person. After thinking about it, Shangguan finally decided that if he could get rid of this person before the opening of the Burning Divine region, it might not be a bad thing. "Don't worry, big brother. Leave this to me." Qianyi immediately left to make arrangements. With the Red Blood Guards, Qianyi could mobilize a lot of people. Otherwise, Shangguan wouldn't have come to him for help. Another reason why Shangguan looked for Qianyi was that he wanted to kill someone with a borrowed knife. Even if Qianyi really killed Black Wolf, it had nothing to do with him. With Qianyi's intervention, this matter became turbulent. After Longao returned to the Martial Artists Alliance, he immediately entered a state of recovery. This was because the Burning Divine region would open in 9 days. At that time, he had to enter in peak condition. In the blink of an eye, the 9th day had quietly arrived. Tomorrow was the day when the Burning Heaven Divine region would open. Longao was also somewhat impatient. No matter what, the Burning Heaven Divine region would be delayed by another month. At the very least, he would have to wait until he left the Burning Heaven Divine region before he could find an opportunity to see Yuan. You are Black Wolf? Seeing the 30-odd people push open the door and enter, Longao's heart thumped. Of course, he knew who the people in front of him were. They were the Red Blood Guards. The person standing at the front of the group was the leader of the Red Blood Guards, Qianyi. Longao knew very well that if Qianyi knew his true identity, he would definitely deal with him. Therefore, Longao was especially careful. So what if I am? Longao was very curious because he was sure that Qianyi had not discovered his identity. Since that was the case, with the identity of Black Wolf, it seemed that there was no grudge between him and Black Wolf. You really don't know what's good for you. You actually dared to provoke Alliance Chief Shangguan. So that was the case. Longao already knew that Qianyi came to trouble him because of Shangguan. There was no doubt that Qianyi was Shangguan's henchman. The Red Blood Guards were all great emperors. Among them, the strongest was a titled Great Emperor. If there's nothing else, forgive me for not keeping you company. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to our boss like that? You're courting death. A figure shot out from the crowd. Judging from the aura he released, this person was an orange-grade Great Emperor. Qianyi had already arranged everything before he came. According to the information he received, Black Wolf was only an orange-grade Great Emperor. Therefore, Qianyi sent an orange-grade Great Emperor to test Black Wolf's strength. Qianyi was not a fool. He knew clearly that Shangguan wanted him to kill Black Wolf because she wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. Once he killed Black Wolf, it would be difficult to explain to the Alliance Chief and Alliance Chief Tang Hao. However, Qianyi had no other choice. After all, Shangguan was his boss. If he did not take action, only death awaited him. He would die either if he advanced or retreated. Since things had already developed to this stage, Longao did not show any mercy. Humans were like this. The weaker you were, the more you would be bullied. It was exactly as the saying went, a kind man is bullied, a kind horse is ridden. Longao didn't back down at all. He smashed his fist out fiercely. The two fists collided and sparks flew in all directions. He thought that even if Hei Lang's strength was strong, it would take at least 10 moves to determine the winner. But what was the result? With just one punch, the orange-grade Great Emperor martial artist who had just shot out was sent flying back with blood spurting out of his mouth. If it wasn't for Longao's mercy, this punch alone was enough to kill this orange-grade Great Emperor martial artist. Longao's strength was no longer what it used to be. After the incident with Xiling, his cultivation had broken through from the peak orange-grade Great Emperor realm to the peak yellow-grade Great Emperor realm. It was a leap of one whole level, and his strength had doubled. How dare you hurt my man? Qianyi never thought that the opponent's strength would be so strong. As soon as Qianyi finished speaking, the two yellow-grade Great Emperors behind him dashed out instantly and flanked him. The power of the two combined was not as simple as 1 + 1. After years of practice, the Red Blood Guards' cooperation was flawless. Just in time, Longao was not worried at all. Instead, he was looking forward to it. Ever since his cultivation had broken through to the yellow-grade Great Emperor realm, Longao wanted to know if he could defeat a yellow-grade Great Emperor martial artist in the shortest time possible with his current strength, especially when two yellow-grade Great Emperors joined forces. 1 against 2. The two sides instantly engaged in a fierce battle. The three figures constantly crossed each other's paths. Qianyi's face was extremely gloomy. If two yellow-grade Great Emperors could not defeat Black Wolf, then he could only use the green-grade Great Emperors. Longao did not use any of his trump cards. His fists smashed randomly, and fist shadows flickered. The whole world was filled with fist shadows. Emperor Dragon's 9 Fatal Blow. At the same time, Longao's fists turned into Dragon's Roar Fist Force and continuously smashed the 2 red blood guards. Emperor Dragon's 9 Fatal Strikes. 9 moves stacked together. Emperor Dragon's Raging Waves, Emperor Dragon's Heaven Burial, Emperor Dragon's Strangulation, Emperor Dragon's Dominance, Emperor Dragon's Collapse, Emperor Dragon's Meteor Explosion, Emperor Dragon's Heart Devour, Emperor Dragon's Devour, and Emperor Dragon's Heaven Breaker. After 9 moves, the 2 yellow-grade Great Emperors fell to the ground like corpses. At a glance, it was obvious that the 2 were breathing more than they were exhaling. Looking coldly at the youth in front of him, Qianyi said coldly, "Black Wolf." Without giving Qianyi any chance to speak, Longao waved his hand and said coldly, "If you want to fight, then fight. Why are you dawdling?" Longao was obviously somewhat impatient because he was very clear that Qianyi had come to find trouble with him this time. Since Shangguan-Iya had agreed, then without a doubt, no matter how much he said, this battle was unavoidable. Since there was no way to avoid it, there was no need to waste his breath. "I'll let you go today. I'll come find you later." Waving his hand, Qianyi led everyone out slowly. They came quickly and left quickly. In an instant, they had disappeared without a trace. Left? Looking at the crowd that had completely disappeared, Longao seemed to be a little surprised. Qianyi came here to kill him, but why did he choose to leave now? Could it be that Qianyi was afraid? Chapter 959. After thinking about it, in the end, Longao came to a conclusion. Qianyi must have left because he was afraid of Tang Hao or the Alliance Master. However, in the Martial Artists Alliance, the one with the most power wasn't Shangguan-Iya, but the Alliance Master, Tong Tiandi. Sitting quietly in the courtyard, Longao's expression was extremely serious because he realized that as time passed, things were getting more and more troublesome. Lei Luo, Shangguan-Iya, Qianyi, and other strong enemies. It seemed like he was in trouble. Only one day remained. To ensure that nothing would go wrong and that he didn't want to cause any trouble, Longao found a secluded place to hide. On the 10th day, the Burning Divine Region had officially opened. There were a total of 100 people from the Martial Art Alliance who could enter the Burning Divine Region. Among the 100 people, there were 10 Great Emperors of each rank, 10 titled Great Emperors, and 10 Golden Great Emperors. The Burning Heaven God region was at the east corner of the Martial Artists Alliance. As the forbidden area of the Martial Artists Alliance, no one dared to enter the Burning Heaven God region under normal circumstances, unless it was ordered by the Alliance Master. The Burning Heaven God region opened once a year, and only 100 people could enter each time. There were tens of millions of disciples in the Martial Arts Alliance. Even if they were great emperors, there were at least tens of thousands of them. However, only a little over 100 of them were able to enter the Burning Divine Region. One could imagine how precious the quota for the Burning Divine Region was. The person in charge of the Burning Heaven God region was Tang Hao. Outside the Burning Heaven God region, Tang Hao looked at the 100+ people in front of him and said in a loud voice, "Many of you have already entered the Burning Heaven Divine Region. I won't waste any more words. I hope that you can use this opportunity to obtain what you want." Among the 100 people, at least 1/3 of them had entered the Burning Heaven God region before. Everyone was eager to give it a try. When Tang Hao finished speaking, they all began to enter the stone door in front of them and disappeared one by one. Longao was the last one. At this time, Tang Hao said, "Black Wolf, after you enter the Burning Heaven God region, remember one thing. Go east. The 6 Desolation God thrones are all in the east." East? Thank you. Longao was very grateful to Tang Hao, but it was too late. He took a step forward and disappeared through the stone door. With a flash of white light, Longao's figure appeared in a huge forest. The sky was covered by countless towering trees in all directions. More than 100 people had successfully arrived at the Burning Heaven Divine region. They looked at each other, and without exception, all of them shot off in all directions. Everyone headed towards the east. He believed that everyone already knew that the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were in the east of the Burning Heaven Divine region. Seeing everyone shoot out, Longao was no exception. Within the Burning Heaven Divine region, as soon as he entered, Longao sensed that many people were not friendly to him. They were even filled with murderous intent. If he was not mistaken, these people should have been sent by Shangguaniye to kill him. Longao did not act rashly. The reason he entered the Burning Heaven Divine region this time, aside from training, was to search for the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. As for the grudge between him and Shangguaniye, he could put it aside for now. That was indeed the case. Longao used spatial teleportation and his body kept disappearing. He was very confident that even a titled Great Emperor might not be able to catch up to him. Within the main hall, Alliance Master, I have been watching Black Wolf for the past 10 days. Jinling has never appeared. It seems that Jinling has been severely injured by us and doesn't dare to show himself easily. Tong Tiandi seemed to be unwilling to accept this. He said helplessly, if I'm not mistaken, the Jinling that appeared previously should have truly reached the peak of the martial Tao. Alliance Master, it can't be? Hearing the Alliance Master's words, Tang Hao was shocked. This was because he knew clearly what the peak of the martial Tao meant. My senses can't be wrong. However, this Jinling seems to have been severely injured and has not recovered to its peak state. If we can obtain the Jinling at this time, I believe that even all of you will have a huge breakthrough in your cultivation, let alone me. Tong Tiandi actually wanted to say that if he could obtain the Jinling and refine it, he could even reach the peak of the martial Tao. If it was really possible, then the Martial Artists Alliance would surpass the other 9 super forces. Alliance Master, what should we do now? What should they do? Tong Tiandi pondered quietly. This Jinling was too important to him. However, as long as the Jinling did not appear, even he could not do anything. Tang Hao, after 1 month, when Black Wolf leaves the Burning Heaven Divine region, continue to watch him. I understand. Since the Jinling wants to kill Black Wolf, in my opinion, as long as there are no accidents, the Jinling will definitely continue to look for Black Wolf. At that time, I will use the Alliance's taboo. F***CK Tang Hao cursed fiercely in his heart. This was because he knew that once the Alliance's taboo was used, it would be a huge blow to the Martial Artists Alliance. However, Tang Hao also knew that the Jinling was too important to the Alliance Master. JavaScript, Tang Hao, there's one more thing. Regarding the grudge between Shangguaniye and Black Wolf, I believe that Shangguaniye will definitely kill Black Wolf. Therefore, you must watch over Black Wolf carefully. Do not let anything happen to him. Tang Hao was very surprised. This was because he could not understand why the Alliance Master was so biased towards Black Wolf. Could it be that the Alliance Master was related to Black Wolf? In another place of the Martial Artists Alliance, Hades was extremely furious. This was because when she was not paying attention, Ling had not only secretly left, but also entered the Burning Heaven Divine region. With Ling status and strength, she had already entered the Burning Heaven Divine region 3 times. A large part of the reason why Ling was able to break through to the titled Great Emperor realm was because she had entered the Burning Heaven Divine region and found the Desolation Divine Throne. Master, this is not the first time Ling has entered the Burning Heaven Divine region. Why are you so worried? Yuan was also very worried. This was not because she was worried about Ling but because she was worried about Longao. She already knew what had happened to Longao in the past few days. If he entered the Burning Heaven Divine region, Shangguaniye would definitely make a move against Longao. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Yuan, I am not worried about Ling's safety. This time, I was prepared to let Ling cultivate in seclusion and strive to break through to the demigod realm within half a year. However, now, Hades shook her head helplessly. She was completely helpless when it came to this disciple of hers. Master, I would like to ask you something. I hope that you can answer me truthfully. Hades seemed to be somewhat curious. However, she still nodded her head. It was obvious that Hades was very fond of Yuan. Master, I respect you very much. I would like to ask if you have dealt with Longao? Yuan had never wanted to ask about this matter. However, things had already developed to this point. She had to figure out exactly what this yes meant. P.S. That's all for today. Little Jew will go to sleep first. Good night, everyone. Chapter 960. Yuin, what do you mean? Her heart skipped a beat. Of course, Hades knew what Yuin meant, but could she admit it? Master, I already know. She sighed deeply in her heart. Hades looked at his disciple and said helplessly, Yuin, do you know why I'm doing this? Master, no matter what, you should know that the person I love the most in my life is Longao. How could the nether god not know that? Because of this, Hades knew that he had to get rid of Longao, even if it was for his disciple. Yuin, since you already know, I won't hide it from you. Yuin didn't say anything, but her expression was extremely ugly. With your current status, Longao is no longer worthy of you. Shaking her head, Yuin suddenly smiled and said, Master, if you continue to deal with Longao, I swear to God that I will hate you for the rest of my life, and I will no longer have anything to do with the Martial Artists Alliance. She didn't continue speaking. Yuin was obviously serious. She turned around and left, disappearing without a trace. Looking at his disciple who had already disappeared, the god of the underworld's face was extremely gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Clenching his fists tightly, Hades said to himself coldly, Longao, I will definitely kill you, even if Yuin hates me for the rest of her life. In the burning god realm, Longao kept disappearing from his original spot, and then he kept moving through the dense forest at his fastest speed. This time, Shangguaniya wanted to get rid of Longao completely, so he used his own forces. A full fifth of the people were his own people. Meikai was among them, but most of them were from the Red Blood Guards. The burning god realm was boundless. Even if they kept going east, they didn't know if they could find the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. According to Tang Hao, the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were not fixed in one place. They could change locations at any time. However, based on his many years of experience, the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones would usually appear in the east. However, under normal circumstances, if one of them could find the Desolation Divine Seat, the rest of the people would flock over. At that time, in order to fight for the godly seat of desolation, regardless of whether they were on good terms or not, there would be a huge battle at this time. Oftentimes, those who entered the Burning Heaven Divine Region would become good friends, but after leaving the Burning Heaven Divine Region, they would become enemies. There were even some who would fight to the death. There were only 6 desolate divine thrones in the Burning Sky Divine Region. However, a total of 100 people would enter the Burning Divine Region every year. 100 people fighting for the 6 godly seats of desolation. One could imagine how intense it would be. Black Wolf, do you still want to run? Longao, who was just about to rest, suddenly looked at the dozens of people in front of him and shook his head helplessly. He didn't know why these people were like vengeful spirits that kept pestering him. Longao always felt that something was wrong. Because his speed was so fast, even if it was a great emperor martial artist, it would not be easy to lock onto him. Meikai. According to Meikai's identity, it was almost impossible for him to enter the Burning Heaven Divine Region. After all, Meikai was only a consecrator of the Martial Artists Alliance, not a disciple or a protector. However, because of Longao, Shangguaniya used her identity to force Meikai back. Among the dozens of people, there were green-grade Great Emperors, blue-grade Great Emperors, purple-grade Great Emperors, and even gold-grade Great Emperors. Meikai, with just you? Longao's heart was heavy. He wasn't afraid of Meikai, but he was afraid of the person behind Meikai. Not to mention 1 against 10. Even in a one-on-one situation, with his strength, he could only fight against a green-grade Great Emperor. As for the Great Emperors above the green grade, Longao was still aware of his own strength. Ha ha ha, Black Wolf, if you're afraid, just say it. If you're willing to kneel down and admit your mistake, I can consider letting you die a quick death. Before Meikai could finish his words, everyone's eyes suddenly widened in disbelief. This was because no one would have thought that the young man who had just been standing in front of them could suddenly disappear right under their noses. What the hell happened? Longao borrowed spatial teleportation. In the next second, His body already appeared beside Mei Kai. He sneered. His body was emitting waves of powerful killing intent. Black Wolf, you. Black Wolf, don't you dare. Seeing Black Wolf suddenly appear beside Mei Kai, everyone was shocked. Of course, they knew what Black Wolf wanted to do, so they all looked at the two of them. What a joke. If Mei Kai was killed by Black Wolf under such circumstances, how could they save their face? It's too late. Longao was full of confidence. With his current strength, it wasn't difficult to kill Mei Kai, but it was almost impossible to kill him in an instant. However, if he couldn't kill Mei Kai in an instant, it would be impossible for him to kill Mei Kai a second time. After all, the surrounding great emperors had already swarmed over. Soul formation attack. In the end, Longao still chose to use the solar ray to attack. With a swoosh, a miserable scream rang out. Longao's fist also ruthlessly smashed out. Crack. Longao smashed Mei Kai hard. He turned around and used spatial teleportation to leave the place instantly. At this moment, the surrounding great emperors had all arrived. Looking at Mei Kai, who was smashed to the ground, their faces were extremely ugly. Mei Kai was smashed by Longao and was attacked by the solar ray. Even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. This was something that Longao had never thought of, because according to his estimation, his solar ray attack, coupled with the power of his fist, was enough to smash the other party to death. But what was the result? However, Longao still heaved a sigh of relief. Although Mei Kai wasn't smashed to death, he was half dead. He believed that Mei Kai wouldn't be a threat to him anymore. Black Wolf, if you have the ability, fight fair and square. What kind of hero are you for using unscrupulous methods? Among the dozens of people, the strongest, Xian Mu, said coldly. Xian Mu was a gold-grade great emperor. As for titled great emperors, Shangguan Yi didn't send any of them. Hence, Xian Mu was the strongest great emperor. Initially, they thought that He Lang would die without a doubt after being surrounded by dozens of people. But in the end, He Lang used some kind of secret technique and disappeared in an instant. Moreover, he was clearly an orange-grade great monarch martial artist. How did he suddenly become a peak yellow-grade great monarch martial artist? One should know that a peak orange-grade great emperor and a peak yellow-grade great emperor were two different concepts. Otherwise, Black Wolf wouldn't have been able to injure Mei Kai with his previous strength. Chapter 961. Everyone stared at the young man in front of them, but no one dared to make a move. Longao's strength just now could be considered to have intimidated everyone present. Hero, he snorted coldly. Longao's face was full of disdain. Dozens of people besieging him was shameless in itself. How could the dozens of people not know the meaning behind Longao's disdain? Each and every one of their faces were extremely gloomy. However, Shangguan Yi and Qianyi had already given them a death order. No matter what happened, He Lang had to die. He could not leave the burning heaven divine region alive. When Xian Mu was about to speak, Longao waved his hand and stopped him. Don't provoke me. Otherwise, I'll kill every one of you. After saying that, Longao turned around and disappeared. Everyone stared at him. They still didn't know how Longao did it. Brother Xian Mu, how did this kid disappear? How did he disappear? How would he know? Xian Mu said helplessly, this kid is more mysterious than we thought. Remember, if you have the chance, don't kill him. Understood. Everyone knew why Xian Mu didn't kill Black Wolf. After all, if they could learn Black Wolf's move, it would be beneficial to their strength. Such a temptation, if they weren't greedy, then they would be lying. Brother Xian Mu, please save me. Mei Kai, who was lying on the ground, begged again and again because he was very afraid. If Xian Mu and the others didn't save him, he would definitely die. Mei Kai didn't want to die. Dazzling smiled meaningfully and said, Mei Kai, do you know what Boss Qianyi said to us before we entered the Burning Heaven God region? Mei Kai didn't speak, but a bad premonition arose spontaneously. Die. Brother Xian Mu. Xian Mu waved his hand and interrupted Mei Kai, saying, I'll give you a chance. We won't kill you. If you can leave Burning Heaven God region alive, then consider yourself lucky. Let's go. Without giving Mei Kai any chance, Dazzling's people turned and left. Seeing the dazzling crowd leave, how could Mei Kai dare to stay? He endured the pain coming from his body and struggled to get up. He did not expect Black Wolf to be so strong. He thought it was an accident that he was sent flying, but just now, he was almost killed by Black Wolf. Mei Kai knew very well that with Black Wolf's current strength and the fact that Shangguaniya had given up on him, it was almost impossible for him to defeat Black Wolf. At this moment, Mei Kai did not want to take revenge. His only thought was to leave the burning Heaven Divine region as quickly as possible. Life was the most important thing. Everything else was nonsense. Mei Kai, you want to leave just like that? Hearing the voice behind him, Mei Kai's body trembled. He slowly turned around and looked at the young man who had returned. Mei Kai already knew what was about to happen. Black Wolf. Waving his hand, Longao smiled and said, "Sorry, I'm not called Black Wolf. My real identity is Longao." Longao? The current Longao was rather famous in the Tianwu continent. Long family disciples were rarely expelled from their families. Furthermore, Longao came from the 9 provinces continent and did not have a long family. So you're Longao. You. Longao did not give Mei Kai any chance. Since he was going to die, there was no need to dawdle. Longao's body disappeared. When he reappeared, Mei Kai had also fallen. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Longao suddenly sneered and muttered to himself, "Shangguaniya, Qianyi, since you want to kill me, I'll play with you." After speaking, Longao sent Mei Kai's corpse into the dragon seal space and chased in the direction the group had just left. Dazzling Eyes group continued to walk east while searching for Longao's tracks. They hoped to find the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones as soon as possible. Although Qianyi had stated that no matter what happened, they had to kill Black Wolf. Dazzling Eyes group was not stupid. It was not easy for them to enter the burning Heaven Divine domain. They would be fools if they did not look for the Desolation Divine Thrones. "Boss Dazzling Eye, we seem to be followed." Dazzling Eye nodded. Needless to say, with his strength, he could clearly sense that they were being followed. This time, only 10 people had entered the burning divine region. 10 gold-grade Great Emperors and 10 titled Great Emperors. The 10 gold-rank Great Emperors were Dazzling Eye, Yi Xuan, Ma Tianyu, Xiaohu, and Enli. The 10 titled Great Emperors were Wanzhong, Bai He, Lu Guan, Yun Xiuxiu, and He Hu. Dazzling Eye was very clear that the 10 of them were fighting for themselves. Even if they could find the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones, the 5 titled Great Emperors would have one each. As for the last Desolation Divine Thrones, it would be up to the rest of them to fight for it. If they were lucky, even Crimson Great Emperors would be able to obtain a Desolation Divine Throne. If they were unlucky, even gold-rank Great Emperors might not be able to obtain a Desolation Divine Throne. Who was it that was following him? Dazzling Eye knew that other than the remaining 9 people, the rest did not dare to do so. However, everyone knew that they had entered the burning Heaven Divine domain for the Desolation Divine Thrones. Unless it was a last resort, they would not fight. After all, the burning Heaven Divine domain itself was very dangerous. No matter how he thought about it, Dazzling Eye could not figure out who was following him. However, since the other party did not show up, he would pretend that he did not know and wait and see. Actually, Dazzling Eye did not know about the 5 titled Great Emperors. This time, Ling was also an accident, because her cultivation had also reached the titled Great Emperor realm. Not to mention Dazzling Eye, even everyone, including Longao, did not expect this to happen. The person who was following Dazzling Eye and the others was definitely Longao. Be careful. Everyone stay close to each other. Remember, do not get separated. Just as Dazzling Eye and the others were searching for the Desolation Divine Thrones, the surrounding trees suddenly moved and began to attack them. Everyone knew that they had encountered a tree demon, an extremely powerful plant spirit beast. Moreover, the tree demon's defense was extremely terrifying. Dazzling Eye was very solemn because in just a few minutes, 2 of them had already been killed by the tree demon. If this continued, not to mention finding the Desolation Divine Thrones, it was unknown if they could even leave the burning Heaven Divine domain alive. In the distance, Longao also saw that the tree demons were constantly attacking Dazzling Eye and the others. Longao was very surprised because this was the first time he had seen a tree demon. The world was really big and there were all kinds of strange things. Even such spirit beasts existed. Chapter 962. Young Master Long, it's best that you leave this place. By Ling, what's wrong? Longao was very curious. Under normal circumstances, Bai Ling would not remind him. Was there something fishy going on? Longao, if you don't want to die, leave quickly. Once the tree monarch appears, you're dead for sure. Tree monarch? Although Longao did not know what a tree monarch was, Longao still chose to leave since even Xiling had said so. However, it was too late for Longao. The surrounding trees began to move. Before Longao could react, the tree demons had already begun to attack fiercely. Looking at the strength of the tree demon just now, Longao was shocked when he actually fought the tree demon. The tree demons might not be very strong. Even if they barely reached the Great Emperor realm, they would not be a match for other great emperors. However, the tree demon's situation was obviously different. The tree demon's physical defense was very strong. Moreover, they were in the Burning Sky Divine Realm, the tree demon's territory. A Crimson Great Emperor tree demon could almost completely defeat an Orange Great Emperor. Moreover, there were at least 1,000 tree demons here, if not tens of thousands. Longao did not dare to be careless. 1 against 100. Even with Longao's strength, he was starting to lose. Firmament Devouring Art. Just as Longao was about to be killed by the tree demons at any time, Long Fu's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Firmament Devouring Art. There were a total of 12 Chaos Stone Tablets in the world. Each Chaos Stone Tablet contained a cultivation technique and a martial skill. They were extremely powerful. Under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible to obtain a Chaos Stone Tablet. If one could obtain one of the Chaos Stone Tablets, as long as there were no accidents, they would definitely become the strongest martial artist in the world. It was already extremely difficult to obtain one Chaos Stone Tablet, let alone 2. One had to admit that Longao's luck was too good, obtaining 2 Chaos Stone Tablets. The 2 Primal Chaos Tablets that Longao had obtained were the Devour and 5 Elements Tablets. They were the so-called Devour and 5 Elements Tablets. The Firmament Devouring Art was a powerful martial skill he had obtained from devouring the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. All this time, Longao had never used the Firmament Devouring Art. This was because he had only just reached the entry level of the Firmament Devouring Art. He hadn't even reached the minor completion level. But now that things had come to this point, Longao had no way out. Firmament Devouring Art. Longao moved both of his fists at the same time. At this time, a very powerful force erupted from his body, and a faint black vortex even appeared behind him. The black vortex seemed to be transparent, emitting traces of devouring power. Longao was overjoyed. He had never imagined that he would be able to successfully break through the so-called devouring vortex after using the Firmament Devouring Art for the first time. As expected, the devouring art was the nemesis of the tree demons. Longao endured the waves of weakness that came from his body and forced himself to use the Firmament Devouring Art again and again. The terrifying black vortex continued to devour the tree demons that were attacking him. Although the tree demons were only a type of spiritual beast, they were plant spiritual beasts. Although the Firmament Devouring Art could devour the tree demons, Longao didn't continue to stay. After all, the tree demons were endless. Who knew when the end would come? After devouring, Longao's fists smashed out fiercely. At the same time, he made use of space teleportation and prepared to leave. But the result? Longao was shocked to find that he couldn't teleport away. What had happened?
Master, the Tree Emperor has appeared.
Tree Emperor? At this time, an ancient tree appeared, covering the sky. Not only Longao, but even Xin Mu and the others were also enveloped by an aura. It was impossible to leave. This was the Tree Emperor? Looking at the tree that was at least a few dozen meters tall, Longao swallowed his saliva. He had seen terrifying tree demons before, but he had never seen such a powerful one. A peak titled Great Emperor. Longao instantly sensed the Tree Emperor's true strength. It was because of this that he knew very well that with the Tree Emperor's strength, even a titled Great Emperor wouldn't be a match for it, let alone him. It was very dangerous. Longao didn't continue to attack. At this time, the surrounding tree demons had all stopped attacking. They were quietly kneeling on the ground, worshipping their Tree Emperor. Shenmu and the others looked at the Tree Emperor in horror. They knew how strong the Tree Emperor was. Even if they worked together, they wouldn't be a match for it. Longao didn't move. Shenmu and the others didn't move either. Shameless human, how dare you barge into the territory of the Tree Demon tribe? Are you trying to steal our tribe's treasures? They were wronged. Shenmu smiled bitterly and said, Sir Tree Emperor, we didn't know this was the territory of the Tree Demon tribe. We entered by accident. I hope Sir Tree Emperor can give us a chance. In front of the powerful Tree Emperor, even Shenmu had to lower his head. Shenmu and the others knew very well that as long as the Tree Emperor was willing, it could make them stay at any time. It was still the same sentence. When the time came, they wouldn't even know if they could leave alive. Do you think I'll believe you?
Shenmu suddenly took out a token and said, Sir Tree Emperor, please be merciful.
Seeing the token, the Tree Monarch's attitude instantly took a 180-degree turn. The Tree Monarch didn't say anything. Shenmu and the others were overjoyed. They immediately retreated, turned around, and quickly left. Not long after, everyone had disappeared without a trace. Seeing Shenmu and the others leave, Longao was shocked. He knew very well that the reason Shenmu and the others were safe was because of the token Shenmu took out. It seemed that the origin of the token wasn't simple. Longao didn't continue to worry about Shenmu because he knew very well that Shenmu had the token and he didn't. The Tree Emperor could let Shenmu and the others go, but not him. It seemed that it wouldn't be easy for him to leave this place. Aren't you afraid? Why should I be afraid? Hearing the others' answer, the Tree Emperor seemed a little surprised and praised. If they leave, I will also give you a chance. So, whether you can leave alive or not is up to you. Longao didn't say anything, but his expression was very serious. There were countless tree demons surrounding him. If the Tree Emperor gave the order, Longao knew very well that he would be in big trouble. Even now, he couldn't understand why he couldn't use spatial teleportation or even enter the Dragon Seal space. It seemed that the reason was because of the Tree Emperor and the Tree Demon tribe. Human, you only have one chance. If you want to leave, resist our attacks for 1 minute and you can leave. Chapter 963. 1 minute. Longao naturally knew what the Tree Emperor meant by 1 minute. It was very solemn. Normally, 1 minute was just the blink of an eye. But now, 1 minute was a test of life and death for Longao. Longao knew that he had no other choice in this situation. Nodding, Longao agreed. At this moment, the countless tree demons in the surroundings all moved. One after another, a terrifying force came pressing down on them. If it was an ordinary yellow-grade Great Emperor, they wouldn't be able to withstand the Tree Demon Tribe's group attack. But Longao's situation was different. Other than his own strength, he also had a very powerful trump card. Longao fought 1 against 1,000, his body constantly shuttling back and forth among the tree demons. In just a few seconds, Longao was already covered in wounds. If this situation continued, Longao knew very well that he would die without a doubt. Unable to use the space, Longao could only fight the tree demons head-on. The Divine Dragon Fist and Hell Tiger Fist continuously smashed out, but the tree demon's defense was too strong. Even if the fist energy was strong, it couldn't kill the tree demons. It's hard to imagine that you can live until now with your strength. It's really a miracle. Hearing Xilinx's voice, Longao was depressed to the extreme. At this moment, he couldn't even be bothered to waste his breath on Xilinx. The fist energy smashed onto the tree demons. Longao felt even more helpless. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't kill the tree demons. What should he do? Should he continue using the firmament-devouring art? Longao knew very well that at this point, once he killed the tree demon, Would the tree emperor let him go? Under the situation where he couldn't kill the tree demons, it was simply too difficult to repel all the tree demons for 1 minute. 1 minute was like an eternity. He couldn't continue like this. Longao was very clear in his heart that with his current strength, he wouldn't be able to resist for even a minute. Without being able to use spatial teleportation and enter the dragon seal space, he believed that in less than a minute, he would be beaten to death. With no other choice, Longao could only use the Annihilation Divine Bow. He pulled the string of the Godly Bow in his hand. With a swoosh, the aura of the Godly Bow enveloped the entire area. With Longao's current strength, he could only kill Great Emperors below the green grade with the Annihilation Divine Bow. However, if that was the case, Longao would have a chance to escape. The Annihilation Divine Bow's aura was too powerful, and it directly covered the aura released by the Tree Emperor. In this way, Longao directly used spatial teleportation to disappear on the spot. He had finally survived this calamity. The Annihilation Divine Bow's power disappeared. Looking at the countless casualties of his clansmen, the Tree Emperor instantly roared in anger. He had never thought that the other party would do such a thing to him. If he had known earlier, he would not have given the other party a damn chance. Damned human. No matter where you run to, I will definitely tear you to pieces. Longao had successfully left the tree demon's territory and could finally let out a long sigh of relief. Your strength is too low. You really can't be saved. Longao, who was just about to sit down and rest, heard Xiling's sarcastic words again. He was instantly enraged and said angrily, Xiling, come out. What does my low strength have to do with you? Do you have nothing better to do? There was no need to endure anymore. Purple and white light flashed, and then Xiling and Bai Ling appeared in front of Longao. Bai Ling said helplessly, Sister, young Master Long, stop talking. Longao, if you have the ability, say what you just said again. Xiling, don't think that you can ignore everything just because you are strong. I can tell you clearly that you are nothing in my eyes. Longao could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Xiling. He knew that Xiling was arrogant and did not put him in his eyes from the beginning. Since that was the case, there was no point in saying anything more. Seeing that the other party ignored him, Xiling was furious, but Bai Ling gently pulled her and whispered, Sister, I beg you. Humph. Xiling snorted heavily. It seemed that he cared a lot about his sister. In the end, Xiling turned into a purple stream of light and disappeared, returning to the god-slaying sword. Bai Ling, what's the matter? Seeing that Bai Ling did not return to the god-slaying sword, Longao asked curiously, Young Master Long, the place you came in this time is full of danger. You should be careful. Also, although you escaped from the Tree Emperor, he can lock onto your aura. After speaking, Bai Ling also turned into a white light and entered the god-slaying sword. Lock onto my aura? Inside the dragon seal space. Long Fu, could it be that the Tree Emperor can really lock onto my aura? Longao went straight to the point. The Tree Emperor's strength was there for all to see. If he was locked onto by the Tree Emperor, then he would be in big trouble. One had to know that he still had to stay in the Burning Sky Divine Realm for a whole month. Master, I believe you have already sensed that the Tree Emperor's aura can cut off your entry into the Dragon Seal space and use spatial teleportation. He nodded. Regarding this point, Longao also very much wanted to know the reason. Master, you may not know this, but the Tree Emperor has two types of power, the power of wood and the power of space. When combined, they can cut off spatial fluctuations. So that's how it is. Master, although the Tree Emperor is only a titled Great Emperor, he can sense heaven and earth. Therefore, he can lock onto your aura. You should be careful. If the Burning Sky Divine Realm opens, leave immediately. Don't stay. Bai Ling and Long Fu were so cautious. Longao naturally knew what this meant. It seemed that the Tree Emperor had locked onto his aura. Since that was the case, what should he do? Long Fu, do you have any ideas? Long Fu's idea made Longao a little depressed. According to Long Fu, he could use the 9-headed Emperor Dragon's aura to shake off Xiling. But in the end, Xiling was still pestering him like a vengeful spirit. However, there was no other way. Other than Long Fu, Longao didn't know what to ask. As for himself, he also didn't know how to cut off the aura lock. Longao understood very well that his strength was still not enough. If he was a titled Great Emperor, even if the Tree Emperor could lock onto his aura, would he still dare to chase after him? Strength, strength, and strength. A yellow Great Emperor was still not enough. One had to be a gold Great Emperor at the very least to have the right to speak. Master, it's very difficult. The Tree Emperor has a very strong sense of space. Even I can't forcefully break the lock on you. There's only one way now, and that is for you to think of a way to deal with the Tree Emperor. Then, you can use the firmament devouring art to devour the Tree Emperor. Chapter 964. Deal with the Tree Emperor? He really wanted to deal with the Tree Emperor, but Longao knew his limits. Unless his cultivation reached the level of a gold-grade Great Emperor, he might not be able to fight the Tree Emperor. As for the firmament devouring art, Longao naturally knew the power of the firmament devouring art. However, the difference in cultivation level could not be made up for by other things. Longao did not continue asking because Long Fu had already made it very clear that there was no other way. At this moment, Longao suddenly felt that something was wrong with his surroundings. Before the Tree Emperor could lock on to his surroundings, he had already used spatial teleportation to disappear from his original spot. As expected, just as Longao disappeared, the Tree Emperor arrived with the Tree Demon race. An earth-shattering aura pressed down, bringing with it boundless anger. Not bad. The corner of the Tree Emperor's mouth curled into a cold smile. He was very confident that with his aura locked on, the other party would not be able to escape at all. Longao was chased by the Tree Emperor all the way down. He did not even have the time to look for the so-called 6 wilderness divine thrones. This was also the most depressing thing for Longao. The main purpose of entering the Burning Sky Divine Realm this time was to train and search for the wilderness divine thrones. Longao never thought that he would provoke the Tree Emperor on the first day. I wonder who will win the battle between White Crane and Black Tiger. In the distance, Longao saw that everyone was watching the battle between the two. Longao was also very surprised. The main purpose of entering the Burning Sky Divine Realm was to search for the wilderness divine thrones. Under normal circumstances, no one would fight. White Crane and Black Tiger were 2 of the 5 titled Great Emperors who entered the Burning Sky Divine Realm this time. The 2 of them usually fought openly and secretly. Who would have thought that they would still fight to the death after entering this place? It's here again. At this moment, Longao helplessly discovered that the Tree Emperor's aura had already descended. With the help of spatial teleportation, he disappeared from his original spot again. The Tree Emperor had descended. White Crane and Black Tiger, as well as the other 3 titled Great Emperors, Wanzhong, Lu Guan, and Yun Xiuxiu, were all shocked. Everyone, including the 5 of them, had naturally heard of the Tree Emperor. The Tree Emperor was a very powerful obstacle in the Burning Sky Divine region. The 5 great titled Great Emperors joined forces to fight against the enemy. 1 against 5, the Tree Emperor really wasn't a match for them. However, the Tree Emperor could clearly sense that the person he was looking for was in the crowd and had already locked onto his aura. After fiercely forcing the 5 of them away, the Tree Emperor angrily roared, "All of you, stop!" Whether it was the Tree Demon Tribe or the Martial Artists Alliance, everyone stopped when they heard the angry roar, including the 5 titled Great Emperors. Tree Emperor, the reason we entered the Burning Heaven Divine region this time is to gain experience. We have always minded our own business, so why are you looking for trouble? It could be said that the 5 titled Great Emperors didn't care about the Tree Monarch at all. However, the 5 of them also knew very well that unless they had nothing better to do, no one would be willing to provoke the Tree Monarch for no reason. After all, the Tree Monarch was backed by the powerful Tree Demon Clan. I only want one person. It has nothing to do with you. Tree Emperor, who do you want? Everyone was curious and started guessing who the Tree Emperor wanted. Almost everyone could guess that the person the Tree Emperor wanted was definitely one of the 100 people. In other words, It was someone from the Martial Artists Alliance. Following the Tree Emperor's gaze, everyone locked onto Longao, who was behind him. Black Wolf? Almost everyone knew who Black Wolf was. After all, there were only a handful of people in the Martial Artists Alliance who dared to provoke Vice Alliance Master Shangwan. It was because of this that Black Wolf was somewhat famous in the Martial Artists Alliance. If it was an ordinary person, the 5 titled Great Emperors would definitely protect them. After all, they were all disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance. However, everyone knew that if they helped Black Wolf, they would be indirectly going against Alliance Master Shangwan. In the Martial Artists Alliance, no one was willing to provoke Alliance Master Shangwan. Even the other Vice Alliance Masters didn't dare to provoke him. Everyone stepped aside. Their intentions were clear. Since everyone else had agreed, the 5 titled Great Emperors would naturally follow their orders. The White Crane said, "Tree Emperor, since this is a grudge between you and Black Wolf, we won't interfere. However, you have to promise that you won't touch anyone else. Otherwise, even if the 5 of us die, we will annihilate your entire Tree Demon clan." Longao naturally knew why everyone had given up on him. Shangwan. As the Vice Alliance Master of the Martial Artists Alliance, Shangwan's strength and status were obvious. As long as they weren't stupid, everyone knew how to choose. Although he clearly knew, Longao still felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. That's not a problem. This time, you entered the Burning Sky Divine Martial Arts for nothing more than the Wilderness Divine Throne. Am I right? Hearing the Tree Emperor's words, everyone was stunned. The Wilderness Divine Throne was something that they yearned for even in their dreams. Tree Emperor, what do you mean? What I mean is very simple. As long as you kill Black Wolf, I will immediately bring you to find the Wilderness Divine Throne. You know the whereabouts of the Wilderness Divine Throne? Everyone was delighted. If the Tree Emperor could really find the Wilderness Divine Throne, it would be worth it even if they killed Black Wolf. Killing Black Wolf would not only show their goodwill to Shangwan, but they would also be able to find the Wilderness Divine Throne. It could be said that it was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. What do you think? No one was stupid. The Tree Emperor had always been in the Burning Sky Divine Realm. He definitely knew the whereabouts of the Wilderness Divine Throne. Just like that, everyone retreated and stared at Black Wolf. Are you really going to help the Tree Emperor? Black Wolf, you killed Tingli for no reason. Although the Alliance didn't punish you, a person like you deserves to be punished. Even if we kill you, you only have yourself to blame. You can't blame anyone. Excuses. Longao naturally knew that this was just an excuse. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of the Tree Demon and the temptation of the Wilderness Divine Throne, would these people have attacked him? Unless they had nothing better to do. However, things had already happened. Longao didn't blame anyone. 1 Tree Emperor was enough of a headache, and now there were so many more enemies. If they all swarmed him, how was he going to deal with them? I, the Tree Emperor, can guarantee that no matter who kills this person, they will be able to obtain one of the Wilderness Divine Thrones. With the Tree Emperor's guarantee, everyone became even more greedy. Their eyes emitted cold-killing intent as they slowly approached Black Wolf. The Tree Emperor stood to the side and watched coldly. He liked it when dogs fought each other. This way, he could easily deal with the other party without any effort. Why not? Black Wolf, accept your fate. Accept my fate? Would Longao choose to accept his fate? The answer was definitely no. Longao had never believed in fate. He didn't believe in it before, and he wouldn't believe it now. Chapter 965. Attack. At the command of the 5 titled Great Emperors, everyone rushed forward. All of them were Great Emperors. Even if they fought alone, Longao might not be able to win, let alone swarming over him. In an instant, everyone had already started attacking. If it were any other time, Longao could enter the Dragon Seal space or use spatial teleportation to leave. But now, the Tree Monarch had already released his aura and locked down all the surrounding areas. Longao could not do this at all. Helpless, Longao could only brace himself and choose to meet force with force. In just a few seconds, Longao was already covered in wounds. Pong! Longao was hit by the white crane's palm, and his body flew backward. For the Desolation Divine Throne, the 5 titled Great Emperors had already decided that no matter what happened, they had to kill Black Wolf. Longao was prepared to use the Annihilation Divine Bow, but he had just used it. Even if he wanted to continue, he did not have the strength to support it. He was outnumbered. What should he do? After thinking about it, Longao could not think of a better way to leave this place smoothly. No matter what, other than the disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance, there was also the Tree Monarch eyeing him covetously. Emperor Dragon's 9 Fatal Slashes, Emperor Dragon's Raging Waves, Emperor Dragon's Heaven Burial, Emperor Dragon's Strangulation, Emperor Dragon's Tyrannical Aura, Emperor Dragon's Collapse, Emperor Dragon's Meteor Explosion, Emperor Dragon's Heart Devour, Emperor Dragon's Devour, Emperor Dragon's Break the Heavens. The difference in cultivation level was usually very difficult to make up for. Longao was gradually unable to withstand it. Use the blood pool? Longao was continuously attacked by everyone. In the end, he thought of using the power of the blood pool. Because other than this method, he really could not think of a way to leave this place smoothly. Young Master Long, Big Sister will help you now. Don't resist. Hearing Bai Ling's voice, Longao was instantly overjoyed. Immediately after, Longao felt an unparalleled power enter his body, as if he was being controlled by someone. At this moment, Longao chose to believe in Xiling because he knew that he could no longer use spatial teleportation or enter the Dragon Seal space. He could only choose to accept Xiling's help. In just a few seconds, Longao felt that he was full of energy. Although there was no breakthrough in his realm, Longao's power instantly soared, especially his Massacre domain. Even a level 10 domain or a titled Great Emperor's domain wouldn't be able to suppress it. Just as they were about to continue attacking, they sensed the powerful aura that Black Wolf suddenly released. They were all dumbfounded, not knowing what had happened. Kill. Longao unleashed his terrifying slaughter domain and began to suppress them. Longao, who had been at a disadvantage, suddenly became like a god of war, dominating the crowd of great emperors. Everyone was shocked and quickly dodged. Those who were slightly slower were directly smashed to death by Longao's fist force. Everyone was scared silly. They didn't know why He Lang, who they could kill at any time, seemed to have changed into a different person in just a few seconds. His strength had increased greatly, and he was so terrifying. When their lives were in danger, they didn't even care about the godly seed of desolation. Retreat. When everyone saw how terrifying Black Wolf was, they didn't dare to stay and scattered. As for the Wilderness Divine Throne, it was better for them to find it themselves. In fact, everyone had already guessed that Black Wolf's power was able to soar instantly because he used some kind of secret technique. The aftereffects of this secret technique were very terrifying. In the blink of an eye, everyone disappeared without a trace, leaving only the Tree Monarch and the Tree Demon clan. Strike while the iron is hot. Longao was very clear that although borrowing Xiling's power could instantly increase his power, there would definitely be aftereffects. Thus, Longao was prepared to use this opportunity to eliminate the Tree Monarch in one fell swoop. Otherwise, as long as he didn't leave the burning Sky God realm, there would be endless trouble. Tree Monarch, you're King cheap. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. The Tree Monarch was completely terrified. He could clearly sense that Longao's power had instantly soared, surpassing his own. The Tree Monarch was very clear that he was no longer Longao's match. The Tree Monarch wanted to run. Whether it was humans or spirit beasts, they were all cheap. Longao sneered. At this time, he used a divine ability that he hadn't used in a long time, Dragon Roar. Ever since he had entered the Imperial City and joined the Martial Artists Alliance, Longao had never used his divine ability in order to hide his identity. The reason was simple. Everyone on the Martial Heaven continent knew that only disciples of a Long family could awaken their divine abilities after entering the Dragon Clan's ancestral hall. In other words, those who possessed divine abilities were definitely disciples of a Long family. Longao was very clear that his identity could not be revealed. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. At the same time, The image of a giant dragon appeared behind Longao. The tree monarch was instantly petrified. He was completely stunned. He was horrified to find that the flow of time around him had changed, and his body had been locked down. He couldn't move at all. According to Longao's current strength, even if he used Dragon Roar, he wouldn't be able to lock down the tree monarch. However, the current situation was completely different. Longao had already received Zilong's power, and his power had soared. He could use Dragon Roar to lock down the tree monarch. How could Longao give up on such a rare opportunity? After locking down the tree monarch, he vanished. Because of Dragon Roar, he was no longer able to lock down the tree monarch. In other words, he could lock down the tree monarch now. Longao instantly appeared in front of the tree monarch. He coldly stared at him, the god-slaying sword appearing in his hand. "Human, I beg you, please let me go. Please let me go." At this moment, the tree monarch was completely terrified. He knew that he was a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. As long as Longao wanted to, he could be killed at any time. When one's life was in danger, no one would be afraid. The tree monarch was no exception. However, just as Longao was about to use the god-slaying sword to kill the tree monarch, Longao suddenly changed his mind and put away the sword. The reason Longao didn't use the god-slaying sword was because he had decided to use the firmament-devouring art to forcibly devour the tree monarch. Although Longao knew very well that in his current situation, forcibly devouring the tree monarch would result in a backlash, such an opportunity wouldn't come every time. At this point, Longao couldn't care about anything else. He forcefully used the firmament-devouring art. A black vortex appeared behind him and began to crazily devour the tree monarch. No matter how the tree monarch resisted, Longao forcefully devoured it. Chapter 966. The Black Vortex. In just a few minutes, Longao had used the black vortex to forcefully devour the tree monarch. Just as he finished devouring, Xiling's power instantly disappeared. Young Master Long, Big Sister just said that from now on, she won't use her power to help you. If that's the case, you'll have a lot of drawbacks. I know. How could Longao not know by Ling's words? Forcefully using someone else's power was an invisible harm to oneself. Previously, he had already used Long Fu's power. In the end, he was worried about the backlash, so Longao had not continued to use Long Fu's power for a long time. However, the situation just now was a little special. Many great emperors were besieging him, and the tree monarch was eyeing him covetously from the side. If not for Xiling's help, Longao really couldn't imagine whether he would have survived. As soon as Xiling's power disappeared, Longao's expression changed abruptly. He had just used Xiling's power and the firmament-devouring art to forcefully devour the tree monarch. With his current strength, it seemed a little difficult. Not daring to be the slightest bit careless, Longao immediately sat down cross-legged and began to refine and fuse with the tree monarch's power. It was still the firmament-devouring art. He had to admit that the firmament-devouring art he had obtained from the Chaos Stone Tablet was incomparably powerful. He had only just learned the basics, but he could already forcefully devour the power of a titled Great Emperor. If he had some small success, wouldn't he be able to directly devour a Supreme Tao Cultivator? Big Sister, help young Master Long Humph. Why should I help him? Xiling no longer wanted to kill Longao. Otherwise, she wouldn't have helped him just now. Women were like this. In the end, Xiling still helped Longao. Without Xiling's help, Longao would need at least a year to completely refine the tree monarch with his own strength. And this was based on Longao's situation. However, with Xiling's help, the speed at which Longao refined the tree monarch increased by countless times. In just 6 hours, he had completely refined the tree monarch. The next mission was for Longao to start fusing with the tree monarch's power. However, according to Long Fu, Longao's cultivation base could increase by at least 2 or even 3 levels if he fully integrated them. That meant that his cultivation base could reach the green-grade Great Sovereign or even the blue-grade Great Sovereign. However, the consequence of doing so was very likely to be devoured by the power. When that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. As a result, Longao only absorbed a third of the energy, and the rest was transferred to the two little fellows. This way, the three of them could benefit at the same time. Longao's massacre domain continued to expand. When it reached a certain level, it instantly broke through from the yellow-grade Great Sovereign Realm to the green-grade Great Sovereign Realm. If others knew about this speed of improvement, they would probably be scared to death. However, Longao only took less than 3 months to break through from the Saint Emperor Realm to the green-grade Great Sovereign Realm. If it was someone else, would they be able to do it? In just one day, his cultivation base had broken through a level. Even Longao was pleasantly surprised. Standing up, Longao smiled and said, "Xiling, thank you." Humph. Xiling only snorted coldly and didn't say anything. However, Longao didn't mind. This trip to the Burning Sky Divine Realm was really full of opportunities. However, it was also full of danger. If he wasn't careful, he would fall into eternal damnation. Ling. Just as Longao was about to move and continue searching for the Desolation Divine Throne, Tong Ling's figure suddenly flashed. Longao was shocked because he already knew that Ling was dragged by Hades to cultivate. According to Hades' character, unless Ling had a substantial breakthrough in her cultivation base, she would leave to cultivate. Moreover, Longao was almost certain that with Ling's identity and strength, she must have entered the Burning Sky Divine Realm before. If so, why would Ling appear here? Longao, why are you here? She was depressed. Why couldn't she be here? However, Longao was very worried. Although he didn't treat Ling as a confidant, he treated her as a true friend. He didn't want anything to happen to Ling. Moreover, Ling was Yu Yin's junior sister. Ling, why are you here? Chuckling, Ling said, I don't want to cultivate in seclusion. It's simply torture. This time, I came to help you obtain the Desolation Divine Throne. Regarding Ling's meaning, Longao instantly already understood. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't moved. However, Longao still couldn't like Ling. Still, he had Aoshue and Yu Yin. It was because of this that he couldn't hurt Ling. Longao was very clear that with Ling's identity and strength, obtaining the Desolation Divine Throne would be as easy as flipping her hand. There were a total of 6 Desolation Divine Thrones in the Burning Sky Divine Realm, including Ling. A total of 6 titled Great Emperors from the Martial Artists Alliance had entered the Burning Sky Divine Realm, 1 for each person. 6 people just happened to have 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. As for the others, it seemed like nothing had happened. Regarding this point, Longao could not figure it out very well. Since it was certain that a titled Great Emperor would obtain the Desolation Divine Throne, why would they send other Great Emperors? It was simply a waste of time. Opportunities and luck would always be in the minority. Ling, I want to settle the Desolation Divine Throne myself. I hope you won't interfere. Longao didn't want Ling to take the risk. This was because no one knew what would happen in front of the Desolation Divine Throne. If the other Great Emperors targeted Ling, in order to obtain the Desolation Divine Throne, things would be a little troublesome. Longao was even more clear that this time, he and the other Great Emperors, especially the 5 titled Great Emperors, were already in a situation where one of them had to die. Even if he didn't deal with them, he believed that they wouldn't let him go. A great battle was about to break out. This battle was unavoidable. It's up to you. However, I will always follow you. Longao, I don't have any other intentions. Even if you want to rely on yourself, it will be very difficult for you to obtain the Desolation Divine Throne. I'll still say the same thing. If necessary, I will help you. Unless you don't treat me as a friend. Since things had already come to this point, Longao nodded helplessly. After all, Ling had good intentions. It would be best if she didn't know. Otherwise, no one would be happy. In the following time, Longao and Ling searched for the Desolation Divine Throne together. Longao didn't hide anything from her and told her everything. This was because Longao clearly knew that even if he didn't tell Ling now, Ling would find out later. Rather than that, he might as well tell Ling earlier. Ling would be prepared when he fought with the others. A bunch of shameless things. Longao, don't be soft-hearted. Once you enter the burning sky divine region, you can do whatever you want. The Alliance won't interfere. Even if this matter is leaked out, you will still be justified. P.S. I have something to do in the afternoon. I will continue updating when I return at night. Chapter 967. After hearing Long Ao's words, Ling was enraged to the extreme. She had never imagined that everyone would target Long Ao in order to obtain the Wilderness Divine Throne. If such a person were to spread back to the Alliance, she believed that even the Alliance would be furious. No matter what grudges they had before, they had to work together in front of the Tree Emperor. But what was the result? I will definitely settle this score with them. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people respect me, I'll respect them tenfold. Originally, Long Ao didn't want to cause trouble. He wanted to find the so-called Wilderness Divine Throne peacefully. However, people were so cheap. There would always be people who had nothing better to do and wanted to find trouble with you. Long Ao was never afraid of trouble. Long Ao, you shouldn't have killed the Tree Emperor. It seems impossible for us to find the Tree Emperor alone. At this moment Ling suddenly exclaimed, "It seems that the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones have appeared." Hearing this, Long Ao was delighted. After all, everyone hoped to obtain the Wilderness Divine Thrones after entering the Burning Sky Divine Realm this time. Ling where are the Wilderness Divine Thrones? Follow me. Long Ao and Ling shot toward the east. Within the Burning Sky Divine Realm, in the depths of the easternmost area, there was an open space. It was surrounded by barren mountains and rocks. It looked extremely desolate and gave off a feeling of desolation. At this moment, nearly 100 people had arrived at the scene. Because everyone was looking ahead excitedly. The reason was simple. In front of them, 6 stone thrones stood in a row, one next to the other, each about a meter apart. 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones. No one dared to act rashly. According to the information obtained by the Martial Artists Alliance, every time the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones appeared, they would have a powerful attack. The slightest bit of carelessness would cause one to be directly killed by the Wilderness Divine Thrones. The power of the Wilderness Divine Thrones was abnormally terrifying. Even titled Great Emperors didn't dare to casually come into contact with them. Long Ao and Ling successfully arrived and also saw the 6 stone thrones in the distance. These are the 6 desolate divine thrones? Nodding her head, Ling said longingly, Long Ao, legend has it that there is a great opportunity in the desolate divine throne. However, after so many years, no one has been able to obtain it. Even if they were able to comprehend a martial technique, it would not be a martial technique that would shock the heavens and earth. A great opportunity. Long Ao was very clear that it was not easy to obtain a great opportunity. Otherwise, everyone would be able to obtain a great opportunity. Long Ao. Back then, there was an old ancestor of the Alliance who obtained a powerful martial skill from the desolate divine throne. His cultivation base increased rapidly, and he finally broke through the Nirvana realm and dominated the world. Ling there's something I don't understand. Why can't Divine Way practitioners enter the Burning Sky Divine region? Regarding this point, Long Ao could not figure it out very well. Since great emperors could enter, why couldn't supreme gods and supreme gods enter? Could there be something fishy about it? Long Ao, there's something you don't know. For some reason, the Burning Sky Divine region is enveloped by a mysterious power. Once great emperors and above enter, they will trigger this mysterious power and be obliterated. Even Nirvana realm practitioners will be killed. Hearing this, Long Ao was shocked. He was very clear about what the Nirvana realm meant. In other words, it was impossible for even the godly mathematician and the heavenly Tao to enter the Burning Sky Divine region. It was hard to imagine that there was actually someone in the Tianwu continent who could resist a Nirvana realm practitioner. Why aren't they fighting for the desolate divine thrones? Long Ao was very curious. No matter what, there were already 6 desolate divine thrones in front of them. Under normal circumstances, Everyone would fight to the death for the desolate divine thrones when they saw them. But now, everyone stared at the 6 desolate divine thrones in front of them with greedy faces, but they didn't move. Longao, don't be reckless. The 6 desolate divine thrones have just appeared and possess terrifying offensive power. Not to mention you and me, even if great emperors came, they wouldn't be able to block the attack of the desolate divine thrones. He was startled. Even great emperors couldn't block the attack of the desolate divine thrones. What kind of concept was that? Longao finally knew why everyone didn't dare to fight for the desolate divine thrones when they saw them appear. There was a reason. Linger, what should we do now? Longao was very clear that Linger had definitely entered the burning sky divine region and obtained the desolate divine thrones. That was why he asked. He believed that Linger definitely knew what to do. After thinking for a while, Linger said, "Wait, according to my estimation, if nothing unexpected happens, the desolate divine throne's offensive power will disappear in 3 days. At that time, whoever can obtain the desolate divine thrones will depend on their own ability." Depend on their own ability? Longao was helpless. After all, there were 6 desolate divine thrones. If over 100 people fought for them, 5 of them would definitely be taken by the 5 titled great emperors. As for the last desolate divine throne, it was easy to imagine how intense the battle would be with over 90 people fighting for it. Not to mention, now that Linger had joined in, 6 titled great emperors would occupy 6 desolate divine thrones. Would the rest still have a chance? Longao, 3 days later, I will help you obtain the desolate divine thrones. Remember, no matter what happens, you can't be soft-hearted. Remember, being merciful to the enemy is the greatest cruelty to yourself. Of course, Longao clearly understood those words. However, he still said, Linger, other than obtaining the savage divine throne, the more important reason for me to enter the burning heaven divine region this time is to gain experience. Therefore, I hope that you won't do anything 3 days later. I want to see if I can carve out a bloody path and obtain the savage divine throne with my own strength. Linger stared at the youth beside her. She really admired Longao's character. He would never admit defeat. No matter what difficulties he encountered, no matter how strong the enemy was, he would persevere until the end. Such a person was also someone who could move her heart. However, for her senior sister, for the person she loved, and even more so for herself, Linger didn't continue to express her feelings. However, Linger naturally wouldn't give up. She wouldn't give up in the past, now, and in the future. Longao, I will support you from behind. The desolate divine thrones will depend on your luck. If you can comprehend on the desolate divine thrones for a month, even if you can't obtain a great opportunity, I believe that it will bring unexpected benefits to your cultivation. Do you know that back then, I obtained the desolate divine thrones 3 times and comprehended them for 3 whole months to achieve what I have today? So that's how it was. Longao knew that Linger was able to become a titled great emperor. Other than her own talent, external help was also very important. Chapter 968. Obtaining the Desolation Divine Throne 3 times in a row? Longao was a little speechless. It was as difficult as ascending the heavens for others to obtain it once, but Linger had obtained it 3 times in a row. It seemed that comparisons were odious. 3 days wasn't a long time, but it wasn't a short time either. Everyone was eager to give it a try. Once the power of the Desolation Divine Throne disappeared in 3 days, everyone would fight for it. In front of the Desolation Divine Throne, there was no friendship, no alliance, only profit and greed. At that time, in order to fight for the Desolation Divine Throne, even killing each other would be a common thing. Longao and Linger stood quietly on the spot. The 2 of them didn't relax in the slightest. Within the Dragon Seal space, Long Fu, have you already sensed that the Desolation Divine Throne has some secret? Longao's soul had entered the Dragon Seal space, so even if Linger was beside him, she still didn't know what Longao was doing. Long Fu shook his head with a helpless expression. Master, I've already sensed it. The 6 Desolation Divine Thrones are very mysterious. I can't enter them at all. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was shocked. Because of Long Fu's strength, even Long Fu couldn't enter the Desolation Divine Thrones. One could imagine what the Desolation Divine Thrones meant. Long Fu, no matter what, we have to find the secret of the Desolation Divine Thrones. I don't know why, but when I saw the Desolation Divine Thrones, I felt the blood in my body boiling as if it was about to spurt out. I couldn't control it. Regarding this matter, other than Long Fu, Longao didn't tell anyone else, not even Ling Er. Longao also didn't know what was going on with him. Because of this, he was determined to find out what was going on with the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. It seemed to be related to his blood. Master, I have to remind you that the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones are no small matter. Unless it's absolutely necessary, don't touch them. How could Longao not know about this? But now that things had come to this, he had to get to the bottom of the matter. In fact, Longao had already decided in his heart that since the Wilderness Divine Throne could stir the blood in his body, then he might be able to find out who had sealed the bloodline in his body. His bloodline was sealed. All these years, he had never known. Seeing that his master had already made up his mind, Long Fu didn't say anything else. Ling Er and Longao's whereabouts had long been discovered by others. Especially when they saw Ling Er, no one had expected that the eldest daughter of the Martial Artists Alliance would suddenly enter the Burning Sky God realm. Without a doubt, with Ling Er's status and strength, obtaining one of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones was as easy as flipping one's hand. Thus, no one was willing to compete with Ling Er. Ling Er and the other 5 titled Great Emperors made up 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. What about the others? Under normal circumstances, even with Ling Er's appearance, the 5 titled Great Emperors wouldn't be worried at all. However, the situation was completely different now. There was an extra black wolf, a black wolf who had almost killed them earlier. Although they didn't know how the black wolf had done it, everyone was clear that if the black wolf did that, their lives would be in danger. Everyone was a little nervous because things were getting more and more troublesome. The 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were right in front of them. Not to mention Black Wolf and the 6 titled Great Emperors, just the other Great Emperors, including Dazzling Man, wanted to obtain the Desolation Divine Thrones. The legends of the Martial Artists Alliance's seniors were still vivid in everyone's minds. Everyone hoped to reach that level. The temptation of the Desolation Divine Thrones was huge. Because of this, even Crimson Grade Great Emperors could challenge titled Great Emperors in order to obtain the Desolation Divine Thrones. Although it was impossible, sometimes, when a person went crazy, it was still very scary. Unknowingly, everyone's spearhead was pointed at the Black Wolf. The reason was very simple. The strength that the Black Wolf had displayed previously was a little too strong. Time passed by bit. As the time approached, everyone became more and more nervous. Each and every one of them was eager to give it a try. They were all prepared. Once the time was up, when the attacking power of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones disappeared, everyone would rush forward and frantically snatch the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. The 3rd day passed in the blink of an eye. There were still 2 hours before the attack power of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones disappeared without a trace. At that time, all the great emperors from all directions would crazily fight for the Desolation Divine Thrones. At that time, it would be possible for the land to be littered with corpses. Longao, wait for me. I'll hold off the others. You just focus on fighting for the Desolation Divine Thrones. Hearing Ling Er's words, Longao was helpless to the extreme. He had always said that he didn't need help, but Ling Er seemed to have forgotten. Ling Er, I've already said that I don't need your help. Stay here obediently. Do you understand? The 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were right in front of them. When the time came, it would be a mess. Longao was very worried that something would happen to Ling Er. Ling Er didn't say anything, but her eyes were darting around. 2 hours later, the auras of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones disappeared instantly. At this moment, the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones no longer had any attack power. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings, who had been ready to make a move, shot towards the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors took the lead. In the process of flying, everyone had already started fighting with each other. In just a few seconds, dozens of people had already died. One could imagine how intense the competition was. Before Longao could say anything, Ling Er's body also darted out. 6 titled Great Emperors could totally occupy 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. Under normal circumstances, no one would dare to find trouble with titled Great Emperors. However, at this moment, the temptation of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones was too great. Everyone's eyes were red with killing intent. It could also be said that they were blinded by the temptation. They didn't care about their own lives and started attacking the 5 titled Great Emperors ruthlessly. Ling Er's identity was there. Therefore, everyone had already reached an agreement. No matter what the final result was, one of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones would be given to Ling Er. Looking at the situation around her, Ling Er was instantly delighted. She had already sent a message to Longao using spirit stones. After all, she had already obtained the Desolation Divine Thrones. Even if there was a 4th time, it wouldn't be of any use. From the beginning to the end, Ling Er had been helping Longao obtain the Desolation Divine Thrones. Seeing that Ling Er didn't actually give them the Desolation Divine Thrones, everyone was furious. They all started to obstruct Longao. Although they didn't dare to attack Ling Er, it didn't mean that they were afraid of Longao. In front of the Desolation Divine Thrones, everyone had already forgotten about Longao's terrifying strength. Chapter 969. Many people chose to attack Longao. In the end, unknowingly, everyone had already treated Longao as an outsider. After all, Longao had offended Shanghai. How dare you? Seeing that many people chose to attack Longao, Ling Er was instantly enraged. She immediately shot towards Longao. Everyone, stop! The white crane let out an angry roar. Everyone, including Ling Er and Longao, all stopped. What did the white crane mean? Ling Er, I know what you mean. The 5 of us will each take 1 Wilderness Divine Throne. As for the remaining Wilderness Divine Throne, it will be up to their own abilities. What do you think? Before Ling Er could answer, a sword chi of Dragon Roar had already shot towards the white crane. He was startled. The white crane had never thought that Black Wolf would actually dare to attack him at this moment. He was simply courting death. Before everyone could figure out the situation, a dragon roar resounded. Then, a huge illusory dragon shadow appeared behind Longao. Originally, ever since Longao joined the Martial Artists Alliance, he did not want to reveal his identity. Therefore, he would not use his divine ability unless it was absolutely necessary. However, the situation was critical now. If he was careless, the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones would be taken by others. At that time, it would be almost impossible for him to obtain the Wilderness Divine Thrones. According to Ling Er, no matter who it was, as long as they could sit on the Wilderness Divine Thrones, no one would be able to get close to them. Until 1 month later, when the Burning Sky Divine Domain reopened. The reason why Longao used his divine ability was that the blood in his body had suddenly boiled. He was very clear that the boiling of his blood had something to do with the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones. Because of this, Longao decided that no matter what happened, he had to obtain one of the Wilderness Divine Thrones. As a last resort, he could only use his divine ability, Dragon Roar. Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the green-grade Great Emperor realm. Correspondingly, the power of his divine ability, Dragon Roar, had also increased tremendously. Powerful dragon breath enveloped everyone in the surroundings. Before anyone could react, they all felt the change in the flow of space around them. Even their bodies were locked down. Even the 5 titled Great Emperors were locked down. They needed at least 2 seconds to move. What kind of concept was that? If it was an ordinary martial artist, even if they had 2 seconds, wanting to seize the Wilderness Divine Throne would be an extremely impossible task. However, Longao's situation was completely different. With the help of spatial teleportation, Longao's body instantly disappeared. After a few disappearances, Longao arrived in front of the wilderness divine throne. The lock was removed. Seeing that Black Wolf had already arrived in front of the wilderness divine throne, everyone was shocked, especially the 5 titled Great Emperors. Their expressions were extremely gloomy. Under their watch, Black Wolf actually managed to beat them to it. Black Wolf, how dare you? Since things had already come to this point, how could he not dare? Longao doubted the intelligence of the people in front of him. Did they really think that he was an ordinary disciple who didn't dare to provoke them? In Longao's eyes, he didn't put these people in his eyes. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the initiative to attack them. Ling Er, step aside. Seeing that Longao's expression wasn't too good, Ling Er nodded and slowly walked to the side. She didn't know why, but Ling Er trusted Longao very much now, even if the other party had 5 titled Great Emperors and many other Great Emperors. Black Wolf, with your identity and strength, you don't have the qualifications to obtain the Wilderness Divine Throne. You should know the consequences. But he said coldly as the 5 titled Great Emperors approached step by step. Their intentions were very clear. As long as Black Wolf dared to obtain the Wilderness Divine Throne, they wouldn't show any mercy. Even if they killed Black Wolf, no one would leak this matter out. Ling Er stood at the side and stared at everyone. Although she believed in Longao's strength, she wouldn't sit still and wait for death if everyone dared to swarm him. At that time, she wouldn't hesitate to start a massacre. Ignoring everyone, he sneered. Of course, Longao wouldn't be afraid of any threat. He immediately turned around, went to the Wilderness Divine Throne in the middle, and sat down. It's over. Seeing that Black Wolf had already sat down on the Wilderness Divine Throne, everyone was shocked. One of the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones had already been obtained by Black Wolf. Only 5 Wilderness Divine Thrones were left. Humans were like this. Just a moment ago, they were eager to give it a try. Now that they saw that Black Wolf had already obtained the Wilderness Divine Throne, everyone didn't continue to dawdle. They immediately started to fight for the remaining Wilderness Divine Thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors immediately released their killing intent. Their intentions were very clear. They wouldn't hesitate to kill anyone who dared to snatch the Wilderness Divine Thrones. The strength of titled Great Emperors was there for all to see. Not to mention ordinary Great Emperors, even gold-grade Great Emperors wouldn't dare to clash head-on with titled Great Emperors. Just like this, the 5 titled Great Emperors smoothly arrived in front of the 5 Wilderness Divine Thrones. As for whether the other Great Emperors could obtain the Wilderness Divine Thrones, it didn't matter. As long as they could obtain the Wilderness Divine Thrones, everything would be fine. However, what happened next stunned everyone. They all stared blankly at the Wilderness Divine Thrones in front of them. According to the previous situation, since the Wilderness Divine Thrones no longer had any attacking power, they could smoothly occupy the Wilderness Divine Thrones and start to comprehend the Wilderness Divine Thrones. But now, no matter what they did, they couldn't occupy the Wilderness Divine Thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors didn't know what had happened. Could it be Black Wolf? Everyone looked at Black Wolf. Out of the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones, only Black Wolf could occupy them. The other 5 titled Great Emperors couldn't. If this had nothing to do with Black Wolf, they wouldn't believe it even if they were beaten to death. The 5 titled Great Emperors slowly retreated. They didn't dare to force their way in. After all, the legend of the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones was there. If they forced their way in, wouldn't they be unlucky and die? Seeing that the 5 titled Great Emperors couldn't successfully occupy the Wilderness Divine Thrones, the other Great Emperors were delighted. They all scrambled to occupy the Wilderness Divine Thrones. However, the result was the same. No matter who it was, they couldn't occupy the Wilderness Divine Thrones. What was going on? Countless disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance had entered the Burning Sky Divine region, but they had never encountered such a situation. Everyone looked at Black Wolf on the Wilderness Divine Thrones. Almost everyone had guessed that this matter had something to do with Black Wolf. After all, they couldn't occupy the Wilderness Divine Thrones because Black Wolf had entered the Burning Sky Divine region. Black Wolf. Black Wolf. Everyone looked at Black Wolf helplessly. After all, A month had passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 970. Within the burning sky god realm. A month passed in the blink of an eye. If he couldn't enter the wilderness divine throne, wouldn't he have come in vain? Seeing that Black Wolf had successfully entered the wilderness divine throne, everyone was furious and glared at him. Everyone was furious, only Ling was happy. Due to Ling strength, no one dared to deal with her. 6 wilderness god clan members. On the wilderness divine throne in the middle, Longao sat down on the wilderness divine throne. Before he could figure out what was going on, he was immediately shocked. At this moment, Longao felt the blood in his body begin to churn like boiling water. Gurgle, gurgle. Could it be the wilderness divine throne? Longao became more and more convinced that the bloodline in his body was related to the wilderness divine throne. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the blood in his body to churn like this just as he sat on the wilderness divine throne. He didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. Longao immediately circulated the power in his body and began to suppress the boiling blood in his body. However, this little bit of power could be said to be negligible. Long Fu, what happened? Next, Longao found that he could no longer contact the wilderness divine throne. Helpless, he could only sense Xiling and Bai Ling, hoping to get the help of the 2 Jianling. No matter what, Xiling and Bai Ling were very powerful. Even if they weren't as powerful as the divine mathematician and Tian Dao, he believed that there wasn't much difference. Longao could almost say that whether it was Xiling or Bai Ling, he believed that their cultivation had reached the legendary Nirvana realm. Longao, 6 wilderness divine thrones are no small matter. Although I haven't sensed where the wilderness divine throne came from, I have to remind you that the wilderness divine throne seems to be related to your bloodline. As expected, Longao had obviously sensed this point, but the problem now was that he didn't know what to do. Xiling. Without waiting for Longao to ask, Bai Ling said, "Young Master Long, immediately seal off your bloodline. You must not allow the Desolation Divine Throne to control your bloodline. Otherwise, even if a Rebirth Realm martial artist personally descends, they will not be able to save you." Hearing Bai Ling's words, Longao was also shocked. If it had been Xiling, he might not have believed it, but if it was Bai Ling, he would definitely believe it, because Longao knew very well that Bai Ling would not lie. Sealing the bloodline? Longao didn't dare to be careless. Of course, he knew what Xiling and Bai Ling were talking about. He immediately channeled all of his power and forcefully sealed his bloodline. A dragon's roar sounded. Longao didn't know that as soon as he sealed his bloodline, a dragon's roar sounded in his body. Then, a huge illusory dragon shadow appeared behind Longao's back. It looked down coldly at everything in front of it, as if it was a king descending to the world. Everyone was dumbfounded again. How many secrets did Black Wolf have? It was a little too scary. Just now, when Longao used his supernatural power to lock onto their bodies, everyone was a little suspicious, but they didn't think too much about it. No one would have thought that a disciple of the Martial Artists Alliance would be from a Long family. Not to mention that they hadn't seen it with their own eyes. Even if they had seen it with their own eyes, it was hard to believe that it was true. But at this moment, everyone looked at the illusory dragon's shadow behind Black Wolf. Almost everyone guessed that even if Black Wolf wasn't from a Long family, it was inseparable from a Long family. Who on earth is Black Wolf? Everyone shook their heads helplessly, because until this moment, they helplessly realized that they didn't know Black Wolf at all. They knew nothing about Black Wolf's past. The illusory dragon's shadow released a terrifying aura. Without giving anyone time to think, it directly enveloped everyone. Locked onto. Everyone was locked onto again. Bai He and the others wanted to leave this place first, but at this time, they were horrified to find that no matter what they did, they couldn't move at all. Longao knew nothing about the outside world. He didn't know what was going on at all. The bloodline in his body was forcefully sealed. Longao wanted to see if the Wilderness God Throne still wanted to control him. Besides this, Longao heard that there were powerful martial skills in the 6 Wilderness God Thrones. If he could sense the martial skills, It would be a great help to his own strength. Longao certainly wouldn't choose to give up such a rare opportunity. Xiling, what should I do now? Longao, I'm very curious. Why is your bloodline sealed by a mysterious power? I just sense the power of the seal. It's too powerful. Let alone by Ling and me, even if the God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos came, they wouldn't be able to undo the seal. The God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos were the strongest existences on the martial heaven continent. Longao was even more shocked by Xiling's words. He found it hard to imagine just who had sealed his bloodline. Even the God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos were unable to undo the seal. If even the two of them were unable to undo the seal, then it was obvious just how powerful the power that had sealed his bloodline was. Xiling, can you sense the power that sealed my bloodline? What is the true body strength? Longao really wanted to know about this. He didn't know why, but he always felt that something was wrong with this matter. As for what was wrong, he couldn't sense it at all. I can't sense it for now, but I can tell you that the person who sealed you is not weaker than the Heavenly Daos. In fact, it's very likely that they are the Heavenly Daos themselves. So you should know what your current situation is. Someone on the same level as the Heavenly Daos? Longao was extremely depressed. There was only one existence on the same level as the Heavenly Daos, and that was the so-called God Diviner. Could it be that the God Diviner had sealed his bloodline? That didn't seem likely, but Longao knew that Xiling had no reason to lie to him. Things were getting more and more strange. If it really was as Xiling said, then this matter was truly troublesome. If the Tao of Heaven and Master God Diviner were implicated, then Meng Hao would be in grave danger. After all, no one knew why such a powerful martial artist would want to seal his own bloodline. After all, back in the day, he had been nothing more than a piece of trash from Crimson Flame Town, someone who had been bullied and humiliated. Young Master Long, your bloodline is extremely powerful. Even the bloodline of the dragon race pales in comparison to yours. This person sealed your bloodline because he did not want it to awaken. My sister and I have been sensing your bloodline for a long time now, and we discovered it. Bai Ling didn't continue speaking at this point. It seemed that there was something that she couldn't say. Bai Ling, if there's anything you want to say, just say it. Young Master Long, since that's the case, I'll tell you. The bloodline in your body is related to your background. If you want to know more about your bloodline, you'd better go back to your family and ask them yourself. Chapter 971. Family? Regarding the family's matters, Longao naturally knew everything clearly. His family belonged to the Long clan. According to Bai Ling, didn't that mean that the bloodline in his body was sealed by the experts of the Long clan? After thinking about it, he still felt that it was impossible. What was going on? Longao, don't say that I didn't warn you. Your family is not simple. Sister is talking about your family, not Long family. Nodding, Longao knew what Xiling meant. According to what Bai Ling and Xiling said, there was really a problem with his family. But since he was young, he knew his family like the back of his hand. The strongest warrior in his family had not broken through to the Xiantian realm. How could such a warrior seal his bloodline? Could it be the ancestor, Long Batian? All of a sudden, Long Batian's figure flashed in Long Ao's mind. But the strongest warrior in his family was the ancestor, Long Batian, who had reincarnated 6 times. Long Ao could almost say that if the ancestor succeeded in reincarnating this time, he would be able to break through to the supreme divine path. As for the Nirvana realm, it seemed that one could only reach it after reincarnating 8 or 9 times. It was impossible for a supreme divine path warrior to be so powerful. Things were getting more and more complicated, and more simple and blurred. Helplessly shaking his head, Long Ao did not continue to think about this problem. It was Bai Ling's idea to find out what was going on. After leaving the Burning Sky God domain and seeing Yu Yin, he immediately left the Sky Martial continent and returned to his family in the Jiuzhou continent. No matter what, he had to find out why his bloodline was sealed. After sealing his bloodline, the Wilderness Divine Throne stopped for a while. Long Ao did not give up this rare opportunity. He immediately comprehended the wilderness divine throne, hoping to comprehend a powerful martial skill. Before Longao could calm down and comprehend the martial skill, the wilderness divine throne, which had just stopped, suddenly began to devour. He was startled. Not daring to be careless, Longao immediately went all out to block the attack. However, with his bloodline forcibly sealed, Longao's strength was greatly reduced. Longao was horrified to discover that his soul was being pulled by the desolation divine throne. Longao used all his strength, but in the end, he was still unable to resist the devouring of the desolation divine throne. His soul was instantly devoured. The 6 godly desolation thrones quietly stood side by side. Only Longao was sitting on one of the godly desolation thrones. Everyone around was so scared that they didn't dare to move. Behind Longao, there was an illusory dragon silhouette that was tens of thousands of feet long. It stared coldly at everyone. No matter who it was, even Linger, they all felt a sense of dread. If they moved recklessly, they would definitely be obliterated by the dragon seal. Who was Longao? It was impossible for them not to be envious and jealous of him. Everyone was depressed to the extreme. Out of the 6 godly desolation thrones, only Longao had obtained one of them. As for the remaining 5 godly desolation thrones, no one would be able to obtain them. Everyone pushed the responsibility to Longao, as if it was Longao who caused them to be unable to obtain the godly desolation thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors, Wanzhong, Bai He, Lu Guan, Yun Xiuxiu, and He Hu, looked at each other. Even Bai He and He Hu, who had the biggest grudge, nodded their heads. Other than Xianmu, Yi Xuan, Ma Tianyu, Xiao Hu, and Li, the rest of you will join forces to attack Black Wolf. Begin. After much consideration, the 5 of them finally decided that they couldn't just sit and wait for death. Otherwise, they wouldn't have any more chances. The 5 of them also decided that other than the 5 of them, the remaining 5 gold-grade Great Emperors couldn't be harmed. As for the others, even if they died, it had nothing to do with them. One had to admit that the 5 of them were shameless to the extreme. They wanted everyone else to be cannon fodder so that they could reap the benefits. How could the other great emperors not know what the 5 of them meant? However, did they have a choice? No choice at all. Everyone knew that if they didn't take action, even if they could leave the burning sky divine region alive, the 5 titled great emperors would think of ways to deal with them. Since they were going to die anyway, they might as well give it a try. Other than the 5 titled great emperors and the 5 gold grade great emperors, the rest of them gathered together and started to attack Black Wolf. However, the next scene made everyone tremble with fear. Just as everyone attacked Longao, the giant dragon shadow behind Longao suddenly released a terrifying dragon breath that pressed down on everyone. It directly crushed everyone. What kind of concept was this? Everyone didn't even have the chance to escape. Seeing this situation, whether it was the 5 titled Great Emperors, the 5 gold grade Great Emperors, or Linger, they all looked at the giant dragon shadow behind Black Wolf in horror. None of them had expected the giant dragon shadow to be so terrifying. Its strength was simply too strong. With the previous example, the remaining 10 of them didn't dare to move at all when they saw that there wasn't even a corpse left behind. The 10 of them were very clear that since the giant dragon shadow could kill so many great emperors in one move, it could also kill the 10 of them in one move. Ling stared at the young man on the wilderness divine seat. Among so many people, she was the only one who knew Longao's true identity. Ling really hoped that Longao could reach the wilderness divine seat, but she definitely didn't want the others to die. No matter what, the people who entered the burning sky divine region this time were all outstanding disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance. If one of them died, there would be one less disciple. To the Martial Artists Alliance, it was definitely not a good thing. However, things had already developed to this stage, and Ling was also helpless. If she had to choose between Longao and the other disciples, she would choose Longao without hesitation. No one dared to move. The giant dragon shadow behind Longao was like a king looking down on the world. It looked down on everyone in front of it. If anyone dared to move, it would immediately kill them. The giant dragon shadow didn't even need to make a move. It just used its aura to crush the opponent. Such terrifying strength was something that even a supreme Tao warrior couldn't do, unless it was a supreme Tao warrior. Just when no one dared to move. Just a moment ago, there were still 6 savage divine thrones. Suddenly, the 6 savage divine thrones moved. In an instant, they formed a circle from a row. In the center, a golden savage divine throne appeared. Longao also moved from the savage divine throne to the golden savage divine throne. What the hell is going on? Seeing an untamed divine throne suddenly appear in front of them, everyone was completely stupefied. In all these years, there had only been 6 untamed divine thrones in the burning heaven divine region. When did a 7th untamed divine throne appear? Not only that, Black Wolf, who had just entered the burning sky divine region for the first time, was able to summon another wilderness divine seat and move it. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Chapter 972. The 6 Desolation God thrones surrounded the Desolation God throne on the Golden Mountain. Longao sat quietly on the Desolation God throne in the middle with his eyes closed. 7 stars aligned. The 7 Desolation God thrones shot out beams of light. Looking from afar, it was a spectacular sight. Longao's soul had been devoured by the Desolation God thrones. As for the transfer of his body, even he did not know what was going on. Within a rainbow-colored space, 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple. They were all the colors of the rainbow. Even the airflow in the air had a mysterious feel to it. Longao stood in the rainbow-colored space and carefully observed his surroundings. He was fully alert. Until now, Longao still did not know what was going on. Longao tried to communicate with Long Fu, Bai Ling, and Xiling. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not sense anything. Fighting alone. The more mysterious something was, the more worried one would be. Longao was no exception. Since things had come to this, Longao did not sit still and wait for his death. Step by step, he walked forward. Pew pew, pew pew, pew pew. At this moment, Longao suddenly heard the sound of pew pew. Shocked, he looked left and right. If he did not look, he would not have known. But when he did, he was shocked. It turned out that in Longao's surroundings, endless small snakes appeared in all directions. Each small snake was only as long as a finger, but their eyes were surprisingly big. They were as big as an eye, and they were flickering with blood-black radiance. Void Saint Spirit beasts? In an instant, Longao sensed that among the countless small snakes in front of him, the weakest were illusionary divine spiritual beasts, and there were even emperor spiritual beasts. A mountain of snakes and a sea of snakes. At a glance, it was a densely packed black mass. Not to mention fighting. Just looking at it would make one's scalp tingle. He did not dare to be careless. Longao knew that even if he did not attack, these mysterious snakes would attack him. Since that was the case, he might as well take the initiative to attack. Who knows, he might have a chance of survival. His soul energy was definitely inferior to the main bodies. Longao made a rough calculation. His current soul strength could only reach the level of a yellow-grade Great Emperor. Facing the endless attacks of the little snakes, he probably wouldn't even last a minute. What the hell is this place? Longao instantly punched out with both of his fists. Fist energy shot out in all directions. The terrifying fist energy was like a killing machine, constantly reaping the life of the mysterious little snake. With Longao's current abilities, even if his soul was not as strong as his actual body, he could still kill an illusionary divine spiritual beast within seconds. As for great emperors, Longao didn't have to worry about them unless they encountered a great emperor spirit beast that was above the yellow rank. However, there were too many of them. Even if Longao could kill them all in seconds, she believed that he would be exhausted to death in the end. Emperor Dragon's 9 Slaughter, Emperor Dragon's Raging Waves, Emperor Dragon's Heaven Burial, Emperor Dragon's Strangulation, Emperor Dragon's Dominance, Emperor Dragon's Collapse, Emperor Dragon's Meteor Explosion, Emperor Dragon's Heart Devour, Emperor Dragon's Devour, Emperor Dragon's Skybreak. The 9 styles of the Emperor Dragon was unceasingly used. Longao's fists unceasingly smashed on the mysterious little snake's body. In just a few minutes, Longao didn't even know how many mysterious little snakes he had killed. The corpses of the little snakes lay motionless on the ground. Their blood had almost dyed the ground red. The air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. Longao knew that it was impossible to fight against the endless number of mysterious little snakes with just the power of his fists. He definitely couldn't use the Silent Destruction Divine Bow. Although the Silent Destruction Divine Bow was powerful, it could instantly drain all the energy in Longao's body. If he couldn't kill all the mysterious little snakes, Longao would be in a complete tragedy. With the help of spatial teleportation, Longao's body constantly appeared and disappeared. In the process of constantly changing, Longao gradually became numb to the killing. Longao was depressed. If he could sense the dragon seal space, killing these mysterious little snakes would be enough to supply the dragon seal space. Even if Long Fu didn't need it, he still needed it. Taking a step back, if he could refine these mysterious little snakes into corpse slaves or soul slaves, wouldn't the corpse slave army be able to help him? Chi-chi, chi-chi, chi-chi at this moment. An extremely teeth-baring sound could be heard. Before Longao could figure out what was happening, a black figure appeared. Heishu. Heishu was the so-called little mouse. The little mouse was the artifact spirit of the blood pool. Longao was shocked. He didn't know why the little mouse would suddenly appear at this time. One must know that he couldn't sense the dragon seal space, but the little mouse was in the dragon seal space. What was going on? Moreover, even if the little mouse appeared here, facing the endless mysterious little snakes, could the little mouse resist? But the next scene completely stunned Longao. His face was filled with disbelief. This world was too crazy. In Longao's perception, the mouse wasn't a match for the little snakes. Moreover, the little snakes were the mouse's nemesis. In other words, when a mouse saw a snake, it was like a mouse seeing a cat. It could only run. But the result? The appearance of the Heishu was like the nemesis of the little black snakes. As soon as it appeared, it began to devour the mysterious little snakes. Although the Heishu's realm wasn't much, its appetite was surprisingly big, especially the mysterious little snakes that were afraid of the Heishu. They didn't resist at all and allowed the Heishu to devour them. The Heishu seemed to be protecting Longao. After it appeared, it constantly turned into a black shadow around Longao and devoured the mysterious little snakes that were attacking from all directions. Longao didn't continue to attack. He quietly stood in the center. Since the Heishu could help him devour the mysterious little snakes, why would he stupidly continue to attack? Longao was shocked by the Heishu's power. It was also because of this that he became more and more afraid. No matter what, the Heishu was the artifact spirit of the blood pool. According to Long Fu, once the Heishu awakened and controlled the blood pool, the consequences would be unimaginable. If there was an accident, even the dragon seal space wouldn't be able to continue sealing the blood pool. If that was the case, Longao didn't know what to do. Longao was also hesitating whether he should destroy the Heishu or not. Although the Heishu was the artifact spirit of the blood pool, if he could control the Heishu, then it would be equivalent to controlling the blood pool. At that time, with the blood pool in his hands, even if he encountered a divine realm martial artist, he wouldn't need to be afraid. Opportunity. Crisis. How should he choose? There had never been a time when it was so difficult to choose. However, Longao was very clear that the Heishu wouldn't awaken for the time being. Therefore, he didn't have to make a decision yet. The Heishu's speed was too fast. It turned into a black shadow and constantly shuttled around Longao's body. It was impossible to know how many mysterious little snakes the Heishu had devoured, because the surrounding mysterious little snakes were endless. Even after devouring for such a long time, it was still endless. P.S. Just now, our Alliance Master requested for more chapters. Little Nine eagerly agreed. Explode tomorrow. Chapter 973. There was no end to the mysterious snakes. Looking at the black mass around him, Longao's heart was also very heavy. Under such circumstances, no one knew how many mysterious snakes there were. Longao began to carefully observe the surrounding environment. At this moment, Longao suddenly saw a small snake on the left front. Its color was completely different from the other small snakes. It was a blood-red snake. Even in the black mass, it was very conspicuous. Could it be that the blood-red snake was the key? Since things had come to this point, Longao was very clear that even if there was a slim chance of survival, he had to grasp it, in a moment of life and death. However, Longao was even more clear that with his strength, it was impossible for him to destroy the blood-red snake. It was even impossible for him to go over. In other words, the only way now was to use Heishu's power to slowly approach the blood-red snake and find a chance to destroy it to see if he could succeed. Longao tried to communicate with Heishu. Although he couldn't understand Heishu's words, Longao knew that Heishu could definitely understand his words. Longao was overjoyed. He followed Heishu and slowly approached the blood-red snake. He had to admit that Heishu was really the nemesis of the snake. If it encountered an ordinary spirit beast, would Heishu still be able to do this? Heishu continued to devour the mysterious snakes around him. Longao gradually found that as Heishu continued to devour more and more small snakes, Heishu's aura began to gradually grow stronger. In just a few minutes, Heishu's strength had more than doubled. What kind of concept was this? In a short while, Longao and Heishu had already arrived at the blood-red snake side. Kill it, Longao directly ordered. No matter what would happen in the future, at least for now, Heishu still listened to Longao's words. Heishu didn't continue to circle Longao and directly rushed toward the blood-red snake. With Heishu's speed, it was a matter of a blink of an eye. Without Heishu's help, countless small snakes around him attacked Longao at the same time. Firmament devouring skill. In the end, Longao used the firmament devouring art. A huge black vortex appeared behind Longao. While his fists were still punching out, the black vortex also began to spin. In other words, it began to devour the small snakes around it. At the other side, the blood-red snake was already engaged in a fierce battle with the black rat. The blood-red snake was not like an ordinary snake. It was quite powerful. Even Heishu could not kill it instantly. He could not even kill the blood-red snake immediately. In this way, Longao would have to face the endless stream of small snakes alone. The firmament devouring art continued to devour the small black snakes around him. But no matter what, there were too many mysterious snakes in the surroundings, and there was an endless stream of them. With no other choice, the god-slaying sword appeared in Longao's hand. As the dragon's roar rang out, the Emperor Dragon's 9 slaughter transformed into countless sword chi, which was the so-called dragon's roar sword chi. Sword chi rampaged. Longao used his body as a medium and began to spin. As the black vortex continued to devour, sword chi shot out in all directions, reaping the lives of countless small snakes. Motherf asterisk cur. Cursing out fiercely, Longao did not continue devouring. Instead, he fused the firmament devouring art and the Emperor Dragon's 9 slaughter together. Wielding the sword with both hands, he slashed out at the blood-red snake. This was a sword that contained all of Longao's might. Even if it was used to shock the entire world, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. The might of the sword chi, combined with the dragon's roar, was extremely horrifying. Like a thunderbolt, the sword chi slashed down instantly. The dragon's roar boomed out. Wherever the sword chi passed by, no matter how strong the mysterious snakes were, they were all turned into nothingness. In other words, they were devoured by the sword chi. One could only imagine how horrifying the might of this sword was. Longao had already informed the black rat. At the same time that the sword chi slashed out, the black rat had already left. The sword chi sliced through the void, causing the surrounding space to tremble. By the time the countless small snakes were devoured, the sword chi had already arrived before the blood-red snake. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Before the blood-red snake could even react, The sword Qi had already slashed down mercilessly on its body. In Longao's opinion, even if the other party was a spirit beast of a titled Great Emperor, it wouldn't be able to defend against this sword strike of his with all his might. Regarding this, he was still pretty confident. But in the end, after the sword Qi passed by, the blood-red snake wasn't killed. If that was the case, the defensive capabilities of the blood-red snake's physical body seemed to be way too horrifying. Even such a horrifying sword Qi couldn't kill it. Longao was a little stumped as well. However, before he could figure out why the sword Qi couldn't kill the blood-red snake, the surrounding snakes started attacking once more. Wielding the god-slaying sword, Longao once again stepped into the battle of killing the small snakes for self-defense. The black rat continued to engage in a fierce battle with the blood-red snakes. Longao and the black rat began to regroup slowly. If this were to continue, things would go on endlessly. In the end, it wouldn't be beneficial to Longao at all. The rainbow-colored space was boundless. One couldn't see the end of it with a single glance. The entire space was empty. There were no mountains, no water, no flowers, no sun, no moon, no sky, no earth, nothing. The entire space was like a sealed paper box. As for the surrounding snakes, they seemed to have appeared out of thin air. As for where these snakes came from, no one knew. The black vortex behind Longao's back began to fade slowly. This also meant that Longao was also beginning to feel tired and somewhat powerless. After all, the little snakes around him were endless and unending. Not to mention Longao, even if a supreme Dao martial artist came in person, he believed that he wouldn't be able to last for 2 hours, or even half an hour. Longao persevered bitterly. Even though he knew that if the black rat couldn't kill the blood-red snakes, his chances of survival would be close to zero, Longao still wouldn't choose to give up. For so many years, he had encountered countless dangers. However, he had never given up. In the past, he wouldn't give up. In the future, he wouldn't give up either. This was Longao. This was the Longao who had persevered for so many years. Even when Longao was ridiculed and humiliated countless years ago, he still didn't give up. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come this far. Persevere. Continue to persevere. No matter what, he had to persevere. Longao gritted his teeth and persevered. The god-slaying sword in his hand shot out countless sword Qi. The black vortex behind him continued to devour the snakes. Longao was like a god of death, constantly reaping the lives of the surrounding snakes. In just a few minutes, it seemed that he had killed tens of thousands of snakes. This was a terrifying number. Crack. Longao was attacked by the snakes and spat out blood. Just when his life was hanging by a thread, a dragon roar and a tiger roar sounded at the same time. Then, the two little guys, Longchong and Longao, appeared in the rainbow-colored space at the same time. One on the left and one on the right, respectively, appeared on the left and right of Longao. Chapter 974. The Roar of a Dragon and a Tiger. Longao was very surprised, because he never thought that at this time, the two little fellows would suddenly appear here. After sensing for a while, Longao discovered that whether it was Long Chong or Long Ming, neither of them had entered the rainbow space with their true bodies. In other words, the two little fellows had entered with their souls, just like him. This situation was very helpless. He and He Shu could enter with their souls, but they could not communicate with the dragon seal space. There was also Bai Ling and Xiling. Long Chong, what are you doing here? Longao was not surprised at all. Instead, he was a little solemn. The surrounding snakes were still attacking continuously. He was alone with the help of the two little guys. It was almost the same treatment. Big brother, let us help you. Help me? Longao was even more surprised because he knew the strength of the two little guys. They were almost at the green-grade Great Emperor realm. Now that their souls had entered, they could only reach the so-called yellow-grade Great Emperor realm. Would it be useful in such a situation? Not to mention a Great Emperor martial artist. Even a Supreme Dao martial artist would be exhausted to death if they were to come here personally. Stop. What are you trying to do? Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew what the two little guys were trying to do. Longao became frightened because he had already sensed that the two little guys were burning their life essence. Once it was done, even if he could eliminate the surrounding snakes, what about the two little guys? Life essence. Whether it was a martial artist or a spiritual beast, the life essence and soul in the body were equally important. Once it was burned, it would almost certainly lead to death. This was without a doubt. Even a Supreme Tao expert or a Nirvana realm expert could not burn their life essence and not die. This was the rule of heaven and earth. This was the rule of all living creatures. No matter what, no one could change this rule. At this moment, Longao finally knew what Long Ming and Long Chong, the two little fellows, wanted to do. He would rather not have such help. Longao desperately wanted to stop it, but could he? The two little guys were able to sense Longao's danger. Otherwise, the two little guys wouldn't have chosen to appear at this time. However, the two little fellows knew very well that with their strength, even if they joined forces, they would not be able to destroy the endless number of small snakes around them. Helpless, the two little fellows chose to burn their life essence blood. In this way, the explosive power of the two little fellows was quite terrifying, not to mention that they were working together. Longao kept shouting in fear, because the two little fellows had already started. He had to stop them as soon as possible, otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Both of you, stop. Neither Long Chong nor Long Ming had any intention of stopping. Stop right now. Longao was terrified to the extreme when he found that the two little fellows didn't listen to him at all. He would rather have an accident than let the two little fellows burn their own life essence blood. What should he do? At this moment, Longao was helpless. He didn't know what to do at all because even he couldn't forcefully stop the two little fellows. Burning life essence blood. Long Ming and Long Chong's bodies erupted with powerful auras, setting up a powerful aura shield around Longao. The surrounding small snakes seemed to be very afraid of the aura shield and didn't dare to take a step closer. In this way, Longao was temporarily out of danger. Until now, Longao still didn't know what the two little fellows were going to do next. He only knew one thing, and that was that the two little fellows were burning their life essence blood. Once it was completed, the two little fellows would definitely die. In just a few minutes, Long Chong and Long Ming had already burned their life essence blood. Then, the roars of dragons and tigers began to sound, and the two figures had already rushed out. The two little fellows' current strength was many times stronger than before they entered. The two little fellows each used their trump cards, constantly killing the surrounding small snakes. They seemed to know that the blood-red snakes were the key. Precisely because of this, the two little fellows shot toward the blood-red snakes and arrived in the blink of an eye. He Shu disappeared automatically. The blood-red snakes fought against Long Ming and Long Chong alone. Under normal circumstances, what He Shu couldn't do, the two little fellows might not be able to do. But at this moment, the situation was completely different. Long Ming and Long Chong burned their life essence blood, and their strength soared countless times. Under the joint forces, they directly killed the blood-red snakes. As expected, just as Longao guessed, the blood-red snakes were the key. Once the blood-red snakes died, the surrounding small snakes would also disappear. That was the truth. As soon as the blood-red snakes were killed, all the surrounding small snakes disappeared. Longao wasn't surprised at all. With the help of spatial teleportation, he directly came to the two little fellows and couldn't wait to say angrily, "Who told you to do this?" "You too." Longao didn't know what to say because the two little fellows burned their life essence blood all for him. He really couldn't bear such a friendship. Again, he would rather fight the snakes himself, or even be devoured by them, than to see the two little fellows burn their life essence blood and put their lives in danger. "Big brother, if we didn't do this, you definitely wouldn't be able to destroy these damn things. Big brother, don't worry. Although we burned our life essence blood, we won't die." Hearing Long Chong's words, Longao let out a long sigh of relief, but he was still very nervous. After all, the two little fellows burned their life essence blood, not ordinary blood. Even if they didn't die, he believed that it wouldn't be that simple. Otherwise, if they burned their life essence blood when in danger, wouldn't they be invincible? Without waiting for Longao to ask, Longchong continued, "Big brother, the two of us burned our life essence blood and will sleep for a period of time. If Big brother has a way to wake us up earlier, that would be the best. Big brother, you must think of us." Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Long Chong and Long Ming had already disappeared. Longao was a little sad, but he wasn't pessimistic. No matter what, the two little fellows didn't die and were only sleeping. There would always be a chance. It seemed that he had to think of a way to wake the two little fellows up as soon as possible. Looking at the restored space, Longao's face became colder and colder. In the seven-colored space, other than the air currents that were everywhere, the entire space was mysterious, strange, and eerie. What the hell was this place? Until now, Longao still didn't know where he was. Was he in the wilderness divine throne? Other than this possibility, Longao really couldn't think of any other. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.